Twisting your little ass. Twisting your little ass. Not good enough. A little more coquettish. Left, 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 left. Watch your step, watch your ass. Very good, increase your speed a bit more. A half-dead demon beast continued to attack Lin Shuang'er, and Long Fei commanded her to move to the side. At the very least, she had more talent than men when it came to twisting buttocks. The tiny waist twisted, exposing its shallow navel. It really did take a person's life. It was like performing an Indian dance. Lin Shuang'er also learned seriously, so every step he took, he followed Long Fei's instructions. Looking at herself as she spun the demon beast around, she was also extremely excited. Ha ha ha, walk like snakeskin is really strong. Just look at this demon beast that I am toying with, it seems like it is a fool. Roar. The demon beast was furious, and its speed suddenly changed. Lin Shuang'er's pupils contracted and he received a huge shock. Long Fei's hands moved quickly, he took a step forward and slashed his sword. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing the demon beast. 2 notifications sounded. Long Fei looked at Lin Shuang'er and chided, against the enemy, you can't be distracted even in the last second, understand? Lin Shuang'er muttered, and said, I will remember. Rogue, did I learn the walk like snakeskin? That should be about right. If I use spirit energy, I should be able to dodge Gui Taibao's fierce tiger returning sword art, right? Lin Shuang'er was getting impatient. If she wanted to return to Neon City, the competition would begin in a day. She was afraid that she wouldn't be able to make it back in time. Moreover, she felt that something had happened to the Lin clan. Long Fei said, you still have a long way to go. With just this little movement technique you learned, it's like dealing with a tiger returning to the forest. You won't be able to dodge a single attack. This was the truth. Even if Lin Shuang'er had any innate talent, to be able to learn the way Long Fei trained in the game for more than 10 years just by one day? This was impossible. Moreover, Long Fei knew that Lin Shuang'er would not be able to return to the Neon City. Lin Shuang'er lowered his head and muttered, oh, then how long do I need to learn it? There is still one more day before the Neon City tournament. What should we do? Long Fei said, cultivation cannot be rushed, you do not have to worry about the large competition, if you do not fight, the Lin family will naturally fight. Hearing that, Lin Shuang'er immediately said, that won't do, my fate must be in my own hands. I want to personally defeat Gui Taibao. She was firm. She wanted to defeat Gui Taibao in front of everyone in the city so that she could break the engagement with him. Long Fei let out a light breath and said with a stern voice, since you want to win that badly, then redouble your efforts. Continue. Roar. A demon beast rushed out from the rubble as Long Fei charged towards it with his sword. Lin Shuang'er was cultivating, the same went for him. Without using the power of the ancient dragon body, without using the power of eternity, and without even using the power of the infinite boxing, Long Fei used the power of leveling up in the ancient world. Is the power of a first-stage apprentice. Only by doing so could he grow even faster. Basic sword art. Thrust. When Long Fei thrusted out his sword, it was very normal and nothing special, but he was actually very serious. The proficiency was improving. Long Fei's understanding of sword techniques was also improving. Break. The steel needle hair broke, the skin was ripped, and the demon beast was enraged. Its claws swept out, directly slashing a wound on Long Fei's chest. After Long Fei hurriedly retreated, he rushed forward again. One hit of the heart. Kill. Boom. Ding. System notification. Heart force attack successful. The sword stabbed into the demon beast's lower jaw, instantly draining the blood on the top of its head. Who? Long Fei heaved a sigh of relief. Lin Shuang'er said in shock, you have become much stronger, every sword strike is very normal, there is no flourishing, but every sword strike has such a strong power. How did you do it? It's completely different from the first time I saw you. Phoenix giggled and said, my husband is definitely powerful. Long Fei said, this world has no shortcuts, if you want to break through quickly, there is only one way, train hard, and train harder than anyone else. The same goes for the walk like a snake. Long Fei said indifferently. At this moment, Long Fei's brows tightened, and said lightly, "More demon beast have come." "That's not right," Phoenix said. "Hubby, there's still someone else." "People?" Long Fei frowned. Lin Shuang'er said joyfully, "Could it be that my father sent someone to pick us up? Let's go meet up with him." Long Fei pulled Lin Shuang'er back. He knew that Lin Yuantu would never send someone to pick them up. He was not clear about the environment of the Neon City. However, from Lin Yuantu's arrangements, it seemed like the Lin family had gotten into trouble. Were these people here to deal with him? Immediately, Long Fei said, "Hide yourself first." He would wait and see. The three of them hid among the rocks, concealing their auras. 5 minutes later, boom! With an explosive sound, a thick tree was smashed apart. Branches and leaves flew everywhere as a 2-meter-tall black wolf fell down. Sniffing the air, Zhong Xian's eyes narrowed. Amidst the rubble, Lin Shuang'er's pupils contracted as though he was about to scream, and he said, "Black Wolf Mercenaries leader's mount, the Black Wolf, is." Black Wolf Mercenary was very famous in the Neon City. He was famous for his ruthlessness. If he messed with them, he would basically die. Moreover, in the entire Neon City, less than 5 people had mounts, and this Black Wolf was the leader of the pack, the Wolf King's mount. Long Fei immediately covered her mouth and made a gesture to silence her. Swoosh! Shua! Shua! After the Black Wolf landed, a dozen men dressed in tight clothing with a Black Wolf symbol embroidered on the chest came down. "What's going on? Where is he? Did you run?" "Captain, the corpses of these demon beasts are still warm. They haven't gone far. Let's chase them." A person who had examined the demon beast's corpse said. The captain saw that the Black Wolf did not move and said coldly, "The Black Wolf is not moving at all. Let's wait for it to confirm its position before moving." King of Beasts Valley looked like a valley, but he had tens of thousands of kilometers in front of him. If he didn't have a direction, no matter how much you chased, you wouldn't be able to catch up. Everyone looked at Black Wolf. A few of them said sinisterly, "It's been a long time since I've seen a meat dish. I heard that Lin Yuantu's daughter is the prettiest girl in the Neon City. She's extremely pretty." "That's right. She's famous for being a little beauty. She's also famous for being a little chili pepper." "Ha ha ha. I like little chili. At that time, I will definitely taste the taste of the Neon City's #1 beauty." "Ha ha ha." Their voices were not soft. All three of them heard the conversation from within the rubble. Lin Shuang'er glared at him furiously. She was about to burst out. Was firmly blocked by Long Fei. This was not a time to be easily revealed. At least, they could not allow Lin Shuang'er and the Phoenix to take the risk. Long Fei stared at the wolf, and the Black Wolf's eyes continued to search. The location of the search continued to move towards the rocks that they were in. Long Fei's mind stirred as he said to Lin Shuang'er, "You two stay hidden here. Don't ever leave, I'll lure them away first." Finished. Long Fei's figure flashed and he instantly jumped out. Roar! The Black Wolf let out a roar and instantly pounced forward. Heh heh. Brothers, the target has appeared. Men should be killed on the spot. Women should first strip themselves. Ha ha ha. Chase. In an instant, all of Black Wolf Mercenaries' team followed Black Wolf and chased after him. In an instant, all of Black Wolf Mercenaries' team followed Black Wolf and chased after him. Long Fei raised his speed to the limit. It was just that. No matter how fast the apprentice was, that was all it was. It was impossible for it to be as fast as a level 2 demon beast, much less be as fast as an expert from the swordsman rank. In less than 3 minutes, Long Fei could feel a Black Wolf's breath on his back. His eyes turned slightly to the side. Roar! The Black Wolf suddenly took action, opening its mouth wide in an attempt to swallow Long Fei. Ha ha ha! Black Wolf is going crazy. There's no need to chase after this brat, he's already a dead man. This kid is really unlucky. It'll save us a lot of trouble. The mercenaries all stopped because our apprentice cultivator had been caught by a level 2 demon beast and there was only one. Die. They didn't have to worry at all. Many people crossed their arms and revealed a disdainful sneer, saying, "Do you think that the Black Wolf should first bite off his neck, or should it directly bite off his head?" I guess he just swallowed it. I guess he did. Black Wolf hasn't eaten a human in a long time, this time he's definitely going to swallow it. Ha ha ha. Boom. The strong wind whistled and pounced over from Long Fei's back. The strong wind almost crushed Long Fei, and a black shadow pounced over from above. Raising his eyes, he gulped it down. Long Fei frowned slightly, he was not panicked at all. His body pressed forward slightly and the system reward iron sword moved once more. His body suddenly fell to the ground with both of his hands gripping the iron sword tightly and placed it against a rock. Awoo! Crack! He swallowed it all in one gulp, but the first sword suddenly pierced through the wolf's throat, right through the upper jaw. Awoo! The black wolf cried out in pain as it jumped up. It was in a frenzy as it ran around randomly, blood crazily flowing out of its mouth. Hualala! Hualala! The mercenaries were all dumbfounded by what they saw. How could this be? Why did this happen? This. All of them were in a state of shock, completely different from what they had imagined. Not only did it not swallow Long Fei, it had also been pierced through the upper jaw by his sword. Fresh blood madly gushed out, and before the black wolf could even jump a few times, it fell onto the ground. The sound slowly faded, and eventually, his body stiffened as well. The system sounded out. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for defeating Wolf King Mount Black Wolf. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Black Wolf Essence. Rank 2 Demon Beasts Profound Chi. Devour. When Long Fei moved, his profound spirit chi entered his body and the strength of his body increased significantly. It was as if a warm current was being injected into his body. The muscles became tough. His strength increased. Long Fei walked to Black Wolf's side and unsheathed his iron sword. Looking at the stunned swordsman, he sneered. He leaped again. At this time, the mercenaries finally reacted. Black Wolf, dead. The captain's mount is dead. Quick, if we don't catch him, the captain will skin us alive. Faster. Chase after him. Kid, where are you running to? All of them fell into a berserk state. This was because Black Wolf had died. If they did not capture Long Fei, then the ones who would die next would be them. He really eats people when he gets angry. He crazily chased after them. However, Long Fei ran at the front as he had a natural advantage. His body suddenly stopped. Boom! The sword moved and pierced forward. One of the team members had no time to react at all. He did not know that Long Fei would suddenly stop and stab him with his sword directly through his throat. His eyes exploded with rage. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Black Wolf mercenary disciple. Do you want to absorb cultivation? More than killing. Long Fei did not hesitate and immediately rejected. No. He could not give up so many rewards in refined space just because he had a little bit of rank, and he still had a dungeon to clear. This wild beast dungeon had to be completed before the swordsman rank, and if one's cultivation reached the swordsman rank, then this instance dungeon would automatically be cancelled. Long Fei was unwilling to do this. The system's reward was the way to go. He was not in a hurry to level. One of the team members fell, and Long Fei went berserk again. Chase after him. Your father will definitely kill him with his own hands. He was infuriated. The two team members held their bows in hand. Whoosh, whoosh. The two swords struck out. Useless. Long Fei's walk like a snake was too nimble, and his arrows were completely useless in the forest. Suddenly, Long Fei's figure disappeared. In that instant, one of the team members let out a blood-curdling screech. His throat had been cut, and as both of his hands grasped onto it, he was unable to hold onto it. Fresh blood spurted out from his throat. Long Fei's figure appeared once again. The leader was furious and flipped his body. He took out a chain claw from the space ring and threw it forward. Whoosh! He locked onto a large tree and retracted it abruptly. Then, his body shot out of the tree. In mid-air, another claw shot out. This time, it directly grabbed towards the back of Long Fei's head. Brat, hand your life over. A cold light flashed on the talons. Shua. With the sound of air being torn, Long Fei's body suddenly turned. Boom! The eagle claws grabbed onto the rock on the ground, causing it to break into pieces. Long Fei felt a chill on his back. If this is grabbed on the back of my head, he's going to die. Hawk's claws failed to grab the body of the captain. He instantly charged towards Long Fei from several hundred meters away. Long Fei's eyes darkened, his right hand gripped the sword, he stared at the captain, his sword moved, suddenly slashing horizontally. The captain was an expert of the 8th stage of the Sword Mountain and was experienced in hundreds of battles. Seeing Long Fei in this position, he immediately knew that it was very dangerous for him to fall. The eagle claw moved, the eagle claw suddenly pulled back, locking Long Fei's sword. Lock on. Long Fei was simply unable to slash horizontally. The captain became excited. You dog, this time I will take your dog life. Ah! With a move of his left hand turned into a claw and directly grabbed at Long Fei's forehead. He practiced the eagle claw art, and his fingers were surprisingly sharp. Long Fei's long sword could not be swung out, it was sealed by the eagle claws. However, unable to slash horizontally, Long Fei's body suddenly turned, and used both hands to grab onto the sword and pulled it out. Then, a heavy stab. As the captain descended, his pupils constricted. He never thought that Long Fei would suddenly have such a drastic change. There was no time to react. Crack! A sword pierced through his back. Long Fei looked at the bloody groove on top of his head and pulled out his sword. With a move of his body, he placed the sword under his elbow and cut the captain's throat. Blood gushed out. His HP returned to 0. Awesome. There was not a single trace of extravagance in his movements. It was completely ordinary and unremarkable. There was not a single trace of extravagance in his movements. It was completely ordinary and unremarkable. However, there wasn't even the slightest bit of stalling. There were no sword moves, only basic sword art. But Long Fei used it to the limit. This was the benefit of cultivating the basic sword art. One's understanding of the sword and the use of one's own strength had reached an extreme. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing captain of Black Wolf Mercenary. Are you going to ingest his level? Long Fei, no. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Eagle Claw skill. Do you wish to practice it? Cultivate. With so many techniques, it would not affect his body. In any case, the skills that Long Fei could use now were very few. Captain. Captain. As the captain was killed, a dozen or so team members caught up to him. All of them were angry and afraid at the same time. It was because their cultivation was not even comparable to their captain's. How could they deal with someone that even their captain could kill? And it was precisely because of this that Long Fei did not leave. With a cold smile, he said, "You want my life? With just you two? Heh heh." The dozen or so fearsome members suddenly became fearful, and they all retreated a few steps. One of the men said in a deep voice, "Brat, do you know who we are? If you dare to oppose us, I think you're alive. Are you tired of living?" Long Fei's footsteps moved, and he said with a cold smile, "I'm tired of living." The sword stabbed down. Ah! The heart pierced through. The system rang out. Long Fei had no one to do with him. The dozen or so people immediately fled. However, Long Fei did not give them the chance, and quickly chased, backhand sword. Crack. Ding. The system beep rang. Crack. Ding. The system beep rang. Ding. The system beep rang. In just 3 short minutes, the system beep kept ringing, and all the members of the Black Wolf Mercenary were killed by Long Fei. If they were to team up, with just this little cultivation level, was not a match for them. However, Long Fei killed the level 2 Black Wolf Demon Beast and also killed their captain, making them completely lose their backbone and focus. They normally did not even have half an ounce of fighting strength and were completely cut off by Long Fei as if he was his food. Heh heh. A bunch of scum. You still want my life? Long Fei smiled slightly. Suddenly, "Hubby!" Phoenix shouted from the distance. Long Fei's pupils tightened. Crap. He charged forward like a cheetah. Useless thing. If you can't even kill a single piece of trash, What's the use of raising waste like you? Crack. A large blade fell down, directly slicing a trembling member into two. Fresh blood splattered onto the face of the Wolf King. He did not wipe the blood off but used his tongue to lick it into his mouth. His eyes revealed an ominous glint. Looking at his black wolf mount, his teeth clattered loudly. You dog, come out and die. Rumble. The sound was so loud that half of the valley could hear it. The surrounding team members all sat upright, not daring to make a sound. Not far away, Lin Schwanger and the Phoenix were caught. Lin Schwanger was a little nervous, but Phoenix had a relaxed expression as she consoled, Big Sister Schwanger, don't be afraid, your husband will come to save us. Lin Schwanger shook his head and said, you don't even know who this guy is. His cultivation is extremely high. He is the most ferocious person in Neon City. He killed people without batting an eye, and he has even eaten people before. I hope the hooligan doesn't come back. Just as Lin Schwanger was muttering to himself, the Wolf King's heavy sword shook, and it suddenly stared at Lin Schwanger, and said with a heavy voice, call out for me, call out loudly. Lin Schwanger said angrily, I don't want to. Do you know who I am? If you dare to hurt a single strand of my hair, my father will not spare you. The corner of the Wolf King's eyes slightly narrowed, laughed coldly, and said with disdain, your father? Lin Yuan too? Lin Schwanger's mind tightened, and said, you knew my father was Lin Yuan too? You actually know that I am Lin Yuan too's daughter, and you want to let me go? The Wolf King sneered and said, let you go? Ha ha ha. Are you talking in your sleep? Not to mention your father Lin Yuan too, even if all of the ancestors of your Lin family were to kneel in front of me, I would still destroy them with a single slash. Big brother, this little girl's mouth is quite sharp. Why don't we let our brothers have some fun first? Since he caught hold of Lin Schwanger, his pair of eyes had never left Lin Schwanger's chest, and he gulped down his saliva several times. There were many others who had the same expression as him. It wanted to swallow Lin Schwanger whole. Lin Schwanger's body slightly shrank, revealing his fear. She now knew that the target of the Wolf Head Mercenary Company was her. Something must have happened at home, otherwise if the Wolf Head Mercenary Company made a move, how could father not know? Gui's family? It's Gui Tiany's reward mission. Lin Schwanger immediately thought of his father's fight with Gui Tiany in the morning, and also thought about the matter of the Lin families or sales being suspended. Lin Schwanger was even more sure that something had happened to the Lin family. He had arranged for her to follow Long Fei into the King of Beasts Valley not for cultivation but because her father allowed her to escape from the Neon City. Lin Schwanger secretly thought in his heart, Daddy. The Wolf King looked at his brother beside him and narrowed his eyes. The head's neck immediately shrunk, and he dared not say another word. The Wolf King's mouth twitched, saying, my Wolf King keeps his word. Now that we have captured him, of course the brothers will take turns. When the surrounding people heard his words, their eyes glowed with a golden light. That expression couldn't wait to pounce on him. Gudong. The weasel-eyed leader rubbed his hands together and swallowed a mouthful of saliva before saying, I'll go first. Heh heh. Little beauty, I've never played with a woman as beautiful as you in my life. Don't worry, I know you're still young, so I'll take good care of you. Gudong. As he spoke, he once again swallowed his saliva. The surrounding brothers all surrounded him as well. And they quickly began to clap. They didn't even dare dream of being the #1 beauty of the Neon City. Lin Schwanger was so scared that his face turned pale and he started to tremble. You, don't come over, my father is Lin Yuantu, he will kill all of you. Phoenix shouted, hubby, come quickly. They're going to bully big sister Schwanger. Lin Schwanger also shouted out loud, you hoodlum, quickly come and save me, quickly, quickly come and save me. He began to shout crazily. Lin Schwanger saved Long Fei's life like a straw of straw. Seeing those vulgar gazes, Lin Schwanger was extremely afraid. In another place, Long Fei crazily rushed over. In the process of dashing, he let out some of his own blood. His spirit blood possessed immense power. To those demon beasts, his blood was the greatest temptation. Blood permeated everywhere, and the King of Beasts Valley was no longer calm. The demon beast opened their eyes while they were sleeping, and their pupils constricted. Rumble. One by one, they stood up, and they were all ferocious beasts. Bam! King of Beasts Valley was trembling. In the depths of the valley, a demon beast with purple pupils stepped out of the deep hole and roared. Waves of chi rose as the wind howled. A beast king had come out of seclusion. King of Beasts Valley began to shake. King of Beasts Valley began to shake. The people of Black Wolf Mercenary were also stunned. The people around Lin Shuang'er immediately stopped. Compared to women, their lives were more important. Furthermore, Lin Shuang'er had already been captured by them, so he could enjoy it any time. Big brother, what's going on? From the sound of it, it doesn't sound like an ordinary demon beast. Could it be? The Wolf King's eyes slightly tightened. A long scar on his chest began to ache. He said solemnly, he really did not die. Upon hearing his words, the surrounding leaders were stunned. After swallowing, they asked, It's a beast king? The Wolf King said in a low voice, don't be so hasty with your women. From the sound of its voice, it seems to be excited. I don't know if it will break through or if it will find some prey. All in all, let's retreat first. The Wolf King quickly made its decision. He had met this beast king a few years ago. At that time, he would only have half a life left to crawl out of King of Beasts Valley. The wound on his chest that was more than half a meter long was left by the claws of a beast king. Hearing the roar just now, the Wolf King's eyes narrowed. Now retreat. In just a few years, his cultivation had improved by leaps and bounds, and so had that of a beast king. One of the leaders said, Leader, since we have captured Lin Yuantu's daughter, we should return to the Neon City. When the beast king comes out, even if that brat has 9 lives, it would still be insufficient. That's right. That kid will definitely not live. Although they had never met a beast king before, they all knew how powerful a beast king was. The Wolf King's eyes narrowed. At this moment, roar. Another roar that shook the valley. The Wolf King said, Leave the King of Beasts Valley first. Immediately, the numerous team members began to retreat quickly. However, before long, they realized that something was wrong, because there were a lot of demon beast in the surrounding dense forest. The Wolf King felt that something was wrong. Generally, when the beast kings came out, the demon beast should have gone to welcome their king, but they did not. The demon beastess followed from their left and right sides, ready to attack at any time. Stop! The Wolf King suddenly shouted. Everyone suddenly stopped. The Wolf King looked around and took a sniff, feeling that something was wrong with the air, the smell of blood, a special smell of blood. Who is it? Who is it? The Wolf King's nose was sharper than a dog's. Sensing the abnormality of the surrounding demon beast, he immediately thought of someone guiding these demon beast. The members of the Black Wolf group looked at each other, not knowing who the Wolf King was talking about. Suddenly, the Wolf King's eyes locked onto a spot, and he fiercely slashed with the large blade in his hand. Come out. Crash. The blade chi turned into wind and directly cleaved a large tree into 2. A person also walked out from behind the tree. Long Fei. Phoenix immediately became overjoyed. Hubby. Lin Shuang'er was also moved, and said, Scoundrel, you're finally here. The Wolf King stared at Long Fei and said, Are you that brat that made Gui Taibao unable to touch his clothes in 3 moves? Long Fei looked up, his lips curled into a smile, and said, You are the leader of the mercenary group, the boss? The Wolf King's body shone with a golden light. Boss aura. Long Fei was a little excited in his heart. This was the first time he had seen a boss shining with golden light in the ancient world. Boss. The Wolf King's eyes narrowed. What do you mean? Long Fei said, You don't need to know the meaning. Humph. The Wolf King's eyes tightened as his blade shook. Kill my mount, kill my captain. Kid, today your father will take your life. Boom. The aura on his body shook. The surrounding Black Wolf mercenary also grinned. You came to throw away your life. Heh heh. A mere trash of the apprentice realm dares to be so impudent in front of us. Captain, I'll take care of him. Bam. A leader of the group rushed forward and slashed at the mountain-splitting knife in his hands. Blade breaks the mountains and rivers. His moves were extremely vicious. As the blade slashed down, the blade chi hummed explosively. If this blade were to strike, he would definitely dismember his corpse. Long Fei smiled slightly and said, "You?" He stood still. The leader laughed, "Brat, just accept your death." Ha ha ha. Seeing that Long Fei did not move, he was exceptionally happy. Long Fei was waiting for him like a piece of xiao bai food. However, the jungle was in an uproar. Suddenly, roar! A demon beast rushed out. Not waiting for the leader to hack down, its body was immediately bitten into a bloody mess, without any signs of life. Everyone tensed up. Many of the people were scared pale by the demon beast that suddenly rushed out. Moreover, this was just the beginning. As the first demon beast rushed out, the demon beast on the left and right started to wreak havoc as they charged out of the forest. Roar! Crash! Ah! Captain, save me, save! Ah! In the dark, this place became like a purgatory. The demon beast were all abnormally ferocious and constantly slaughtered everything. The Wolf King shouted, "Defense, defense." It was just that. These team members were all scared silly. They didn't even know how many demon beasts were around them, all they were thinking about was how to escape. The more one fled, the faster one would die. The more they died, the more they wanted to escape. The Wolf King couldn't scream at all. Long Fei stood in the darkness and laughed coldly. "Do you think you guys are the only ones who want to deal with me in this kind of valley where demon beasts run rampant?" Long Fei's fresh blood possessed an incomparably enticing power to the demon beast. This power could make demon beast go crazy. They fell into a crazed state, and when the Black Wolf mercenary people made their move, the demon beast that did not have much intelligence thought that they were going to deal with them and instantly attacked. It was also because of this that it was ready to explode at any moment now. Ah! The Wolf King let out a roar and swung its long blade. Bam! A demon beast was instantly killed. Bam! Another demon beast was killed. The Wolf King said, "Don't mess around, stabilize, stabilize, form a circle for me. Faster." After all, the guild leader was still the guild leader. He wouldn't be able to become the guild leader without some real ability. The Wolf King's words started to calm some people down. As he killed a few demon beasts, they calmed down. Slowly. After a few minutes, everyone began to form a circle with their backs to each other. It formed into a defensive formation. It was also at this time. The demon beast suddenly stopped attacking. All of them stood to the side, silently looking on, as if they were welcoming something. Long Fei secretly tensed up. The Wolf King said solemnly, "The Beast King is coming." His eyes darkened as he said, calm down, don't mess around." Long Fei smiled slightly and said, "Oh, Beast King, I can send you all to hell in a second, ha ha ha." As soon as he finished, a golden light flashed in the darkness. As soon as he landed, he ruthlessly crashed into a few towering trees, ruthlessly slamming into the Wolf King. Long Fei's pupils tightened. "Big boss." The golden light was dazzling. The golden light was dazzling. It stood out in the dark. Long Fei's pupils became tight, and his heart immediately became excited. When he saw the boss, his blood would boil. The Wolf King's eyes narrowed as it looked at the incoming Beast King. He gripped his long blade tightly with both of his hands as his eyes filled with rage. Hualala! He fiercely charged forward. He rushed out like a giant top. The Wolf King angrily roared, "Defend! Rumble!" With a single strike from the spinning top, the defense of over 100 of them was completely shattered. Moreover, anyone who touched it in an instant would be crushed into a pile of flesh and blood. Dozens of them had died in the first collision. In front of a Beast King, these mercenaries were too weak. He couldn't stop it at all. Long Fei was secretly shocked. Damn, this boss is a little ferocious. After the first collision, the Beast King's body rolled again, forming another spinning top that flew out. This time, those team members were scared out of their wits and did not dare to stop them. They immediately scattered. With this dispersal, that was even more incredible, the surrounding demon beast began to slaughter. Ah! Help! Help! My leg! My leg! Ah! All sorts of screams and painful sounds rang out. It was like a slaughterhouse. The Wolf King cried out a few times. Seeing that he was unable to control the situation, he did not shout anymore. He knew that these people would all die. He was very calm. He quickly landed beside Lin Shuang'er. No matter what, Lin Shuang'er was his task goal. As long as City Master Wu Tianfeng was around, his Black Wolf mercenary could still be rebuilt. Come with me. The Wolf King picked Lin Shuang'er up. Lin Shuang'er struggled loudly, save me, save me. Phoenix also shouted loudly, hubby, come quickly. Elder sister Shuang'er is about to be taken away. The Wolf King stared straight at the Phoenix, then looked at Long Fei, conveniently lifting the Phoenix up as he said, little girl, don't even think of escaping. Phoenix also struggled. However, she struggled but was very happy. Very excited. It didn't look like he was being caught, but more like he was enjoying himself. The Wolf King stared at Long Fei and said, Brat, I hope that you can leave this place alive. The corner of Long Fei's mouth drew back, and said, why would there be a next time? The Wolf King sneered, I won't play with you this time. He lowered his body slightly and fiercely leaped. Long Fei's body also sunk and fiercely rushed out. But, just as Long Fei was about to rush out, the Beast King suddenly rammed into him. The Beast King felt Spirit Blood's chi from Long Fei's body, and it was truly because of Spirit Blood's chi that he woke up. Hualala! Hualala! There was a crackling sound in the air. It fiercely crashed into Long Fei's chest. Under the huge shadow, Long Fei seemed like a little kid. The Beast King let out a strange cry of satisfaction. It could knock Long Fei out of his feces this time, but it was just that. In that instant, its mind suddenly turned cold. He felt an unprecedented pressure. With his two small eyes, he realized that Long Fei wasn't the little guy, but instead a monster that was bigger than the heavens. Long Fei released his ancient dragon body and shouted loudly, scram to the side, I don't have time to care about you right now. Boom. His aura jolted and a wave of energy surged outwards. Several towering trees nearby all began to break apart. The Beast King fell from the sky, shivering. Long Fei landed heavily on the ground. With another leap, he chased after the Wolf King. However, the Beast King looked at Long Fei who had landed on the ground, and was puzzled in its heart, he's just a weak and lowly human, why should I be afraid of him? Why should I be afraid of a trash of the apprentice realm? I am the King of Beasts in King of Beasts Valley. Why should I be afraid of him? All of a sudden, the Beast King seemed to have gone berserk as it let out a roar. Then, roar! With a roar, his body rolled into a lump of steel, a row of incomparably sharp spurs suddenly appeared on his back. You're courting death. Long Fei glared at him. The ancient dragon body's physique did not allow for any form of disrespect. He had already given the Beast King a chance, but he still dared to attack. This had undoubtedly touched Long Fei's bottom line. His eyes flashed with anger. Long Fei's right fist turned into a palm and smashed down. The spurs pierced towards his palm, but before it could pierce Long Fei, those sharp bone spikes were instantly shattered into fine powder. Under the pressure of his palm, the Beast King felt as though a heavenly pressure was crushing down on him. At this moment, he was finally awake, but it was too late. Bam! Rumble! With an explosive sound, the Beast King was slammed into the ground, creating a huge crater. The Beast King within the crater had turned into a pile of flesh and blood. The HP on the top of his head dropped to the bottom with a swish. Just like that, the entire King of Beasts Valley was shaken. Long Fei said solemnly, those who don't know life from death, scram to the side. The moment the Beast King died, the other demon beast began to tremble and almost kneeled down to Long Fei. They did not want to experience the aura emitted from Long Fei's body ever again, it was too uncomfortable. It was also at this time. Ding! Congratulations to the player Long Fei for killing the Beast King. Do you wish to ingest his flesh? Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the King's Egg. Do you wish to hatch? Congratulations to the player Long Fei for obtaining the Beast King's soul. Do you wish to devour it? Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the Beast King's secret treasure map. Acquire a physical body. What body has ancient dragon body to be strong? He rejected it instantly. Long Fei did not even look at these things, but he did. A simple goatskin scroll slightly startled Long Fei. A treasure map? Secret treasure map of the King of Beasts. Seems like the King of Beasts Valley is really strange. Why else would such a beast king be guarding a valley that lacked spiritual energy? This beast king's cultivation was not low. It could have entered the deep mountains and marshes to cultivate and break through to higher realms. However, it did not leave the cave. Obviously, the cave he was guarding must be the entrance to a secret treasure. Long Fei kept the treasure map. His gaze swept the area, then he stared at a spot and quickly chased after it. However, because the Beast King had taken up a lot of Long Fei's time, coupled with the time that Long Fei had taken to check the items, the Wolf King had already escaped without a trace. Long Fei retracted his aura. He recovered his real face's aura, stared at the lights in the Neon City and muttered to himself, "Return to Neon City first." After he left, not long after, two black figures descended. Standing at the edge of the pit where the Beast King had died, a black-clothed man said solemnly, "To have such powerful strength, he does not seem to be someone from the mortal world. I never thought that a small Neon City would actually hide the great god powerhouse. Who cares who he is, our goal is not the S, but the little girl from Phoenix Valley. Continue searching. Do you think this god-level powerhouse is related to that girl from Phoenix Valley?" Neon City. Neon City. The Wolf King had gone through hundreds of battles and survived many. He had his own unique method of escaping. He knew very well that no hatred was as important as his own life. As long as his life remained, there would come a day when he would be able to take revenge. It was already early in the morning when he escaped back to Neon City. He entered the City Lord's mansion without a sound. Wu Tianfeng truly enjoyed the breakfast of the blooded demon beast. He was like this every day. Especially in the morning, he must eat the meat of the demon beast, because the spirit blood and meat inside the demon beast could provide him with even more powerful strength. All these years he had been concealing his strength, especially his physical body, which had become as strong as a demon beast's. As he was enjoying his breakfast, the Wolf King barged in. Wu Fengqian's eyes turned sinister, and said coldly, "Don't you know that I hate being disturbed while I'm eating breakfast?" Eating the demon beast flesh raw seemed to be a scene that was unworthy of the City Lord's status. The Wolf King didn't care about all that and directly sat on the table. Looking at the bowl of beast meat with blood still dripping from it, he said in a deep voice, "I don't care what you eat, it doesn't matter even if you eat shit. I only have one goal for coming here now." Wu Fengqian's face slightly darkened, he looked somewhat ugly, and fury could be seen in his eyes, but he did not immediately erupt. Instead, he quietly listened and said, "Speak." The Wolf King said, "I need 100 times the reward for this mission." Wu Fengqian slightly narrowed his eyes, and said, 100 times, would be 3,700,000 gold coins? The Wolf King said, "That's right." Wu Fengqian smiled faintly and said, "Wolf King, you should know your character very well. I am a man who says yes is 1, 2 is 2, and I hate people who haggle with me the most when they go back on their word." Bam! The Wolf King slapped the table and shook the table, causing the demon beast's blood in the basin to splash onto Wu Fengqian's face. The Wolf King pointed at Wu Fengqian's nose and said, "I'm not here to bargain with you. Only with money would they be able to rebuild their mercenary group. They would form a stronger mercenary group." All these years, he had relied on City Master Wu Fengqian to become stronger, but they had done a lot of things for Wu Fengqian to benefit from. It was definitely impossible for Wu Fengqian to pay for him to form a mercenary group again. Moreover, the Wolf King felt that its cultivation was much stronger than Wu Fengqian. Wu Fengqian picked up his handkerchief and gently wiped the blood off his face, then said indifferently, "Wolf King, you must know who you are talking to right now." His expression turned even more displeased. The Wolf King snorted coldly, and said, "Wu Fengqian, stop putting on the airs of a city lord. If not for my Black Wolf mercenary, a city lord like you would not even be able to fart." Not waiting for him to finish, Wu Fengqian's pupils contracted as he picked up the chopsticks and fiercely stabbed it in. Ah! The Wolf King had no time to react. The back of its hand was pierced by the chopsticks and nailed to the table. It let out a blood-curdling screech, It was only half of its cry. Wu Fengtian's footsteps moved, she landed in front of him and grabbed his left hand, her body shrinking as she moved fiercely. Crack! Catcher, catcher! His entire left arm was twisted into a mess, his joints breaking continuously with explosive sounds. This process only took a second. It was so fast that the Wolf King had no way to respond. He could only be abused. With both his hands crippled, the Wolf King kneeled on the ground in pain. Wu Fengtian picked up his handkerchief and gently wiped his hands, then stood behind the Wolf King and coldly asked, "Now do you know who you're talking to?" The Wolf King's forehead began to sweat profusely as his body trembled from the pain. With a pale face, he said, "City Lord, I was wrong. Please spare my life. I was also helpless. My entire Black Wolf mercenary was wiped out, and all of them died in King of Beasts Valley. If it wasn't for that, I wouldn't dare to ask for money from you." Wu Fengtian's eyes tightened, and said with a heavy voice, "The entire Black Wolf group was annihilated. What happened?" The Wolf King replied, "It's all because of that brat. I don't know why he actually woke up the King of Beasts Valley's Beast Kings. They were all dead. All of them were dead. After all, it was a mercenary group that he had single-handedly established. It was also the #1 mercenary group in the Neon City." Wu Fengtian grabbed the Wolf King and said heavily, "What happened? Explain it to me clearly." The look in his eyes was terrifying. Furthermore, the aura on Wu Fengtian's body had never been so terrifying before. The Wolf King understood now that the strongest person in the city was not the Gui's family, but rather this city lord, Wu Fengtian, who had always been pretending to be weak. He was the real expert. His cultivation must have already been above big swordsmen. The Wolf King recounted in detail what happened in King of Beasts Valley. With his hands behind his back, Wu Fengtian's eyes were locked, and he said indifferently, "Seems like I have really underestimated that brat. Where's Lin Shuang'er and the girl you caught?" The Wolf King immediately said, "I was imprisoned in the Black Wolf Mansion. I had originally wanted to use them to pay Gui's family a price." After saying that, he looked at Wu Fengtian and immediately said, I just want the money to rebuild the Black Wolf mercenary." As if afraid that Wu Fengtian would make a move against him again. Wu Fengtian said, "You said that the Beast King has appeared, and your brothers have escaped. That brat now." The Wolf King said, "That brat should not be able to live. I have met with the King of Beasts Valley's Beast King before. It is too strong. I can't even take 3 attacks from it. Even if that brat has some skill, he is not a match for the Beast King." Wu Fengtian nodded his head and said, "All right, you don't need to care about the rest. Just stay at the Black Wolf Mansion for a few days to recuperate. I will send some people over to deliver some spirit pellets. Send those 2 women to me." The Wolf King didn't dare to disobey and said, "Many thanks, City Lord. I will arrange everything right now." Wu Fengtian said, "We cannot let anyone see." The Wolf King said, "Understood." After the Wolf King left, Wu Fengtian immediately had his men follow him, just in case the Wolf King went somewhere else. At this time, a man who looked to be around 20 years old walked out and said, "Father, if Uncle Gui knew that Lin Shuang'er was brought here, would it not be good?" The man who spoke was Wu Fengtian's only son, Wu Yilong. His talent, strength, and various aspects in the Neon City were all inferior to Gui Taibao's. Moreover, the only spot for ancient antiquities Neon City was taken by Gui Tianyi. Humph. Wu Fengtian laughed coldly and said, "Don't say that he doesn't know anything, so what if he does? Does he think that the Gui's family can cover the sky with one hand? You have to know. I am the Lord of Neon City, I am the king of this place. Yilong, how is your cultivation progress?" Wu Yilong said, "Father, I have already broken through to the 9th stage of Big Swordsman, and according to Master's guidance, all of my sword moves are able to break Gui Tianyi's sword move." Wu Fengtian smiled lightly, and said, "All right, after tomorrow, this Neon City will only have one surname. That's the Wu family name." Everyone had their own ambitions, and Wu Fengtian was no exception. Everyone had their own ambitions, and Wu Fengtian was no exception. He was old, and his cultivation would probably only reach this stage in his lifetime. However, he had to think for his son and for himself in the future. After his son lost his spot in ancient antiquity, Wu Fengtian secretly made a plan in his heart. He wanted to be king in the Neon City. Not just the mayor, but the true ruler, the unshakable ruler. He was making arrangements step by step for his son to enter ancient antiquity. The Lin family and the Gui's family being separated was an important step. Originally, the marriage between the Lin family and the Gui's family was a thorn in Wu Fengtian's side. Black Wolf Mercenary said it was a Gui's family who was ordered to do so. Like this, the Lin and Gui families would become enemies. They would fight fiercely during the competition this time, and what he needed to do was let his son defeat Gui Taibao. Not just defeat. And to kill. Thus, the right to enter the ancient antiquity was given to his son. Everything was going according to plan. However, what he did not expect was that Black Wolf Mercenary, other than the leader, would be completely annihilated. An uncertain factor has occurred. However, it did not hinder his plans much, as everything was still in Wu Fengtian's grasp. How did you get back? As soon as Long Fei entered the Lin family household, he rushed over immediately. Looking at the bloodstains and expression on Long Fei's body, Long Fenglei's heart sank as he asked, "What happened?" At this time, Lin Yuantu also hurriedly walked out and said, "Why are you back? Didn't I tell you to bring Shuang'er with you?" Long Fei said, "The news of us leaving the city was found out by someone. The people from the Black Wolf Mercenary caught up to us." Hearing Black Wolf Mercenary Lin Fenglei and Lin Yuantu's expressions changed, and their eyes became anxious. "You mean Black Wolf Mercenary, the #1 mercenary group in Neon City? The captain is the Wolf King? Why are they chasing you? Could it be?" Lin Fenglei looked at his big brother and said, "Is that Gui Tianyi?" Lin Yuantu did not ask any further, but asked, "Since you're back, then what about Shuang'er?" Long Fei said, "Shuang'er has been captured. She should be back in the city by now." "What? Why didn't you protect him? I told you to protect her, you." Lin Yuantu's eyes became anxious. Lin Fenglei said, "Big brother, I am bringing people to Gui's family to get people. Gui Tianyi is going too far. He actually spent a lot of money to have the Black Wolf Mercenaries people chase after Shuang'er. That group of Black Wolf Mercenary are all scoundrels, none of them are good stuff. I'm afraid Shuang'er fell into their hands." Lin Fenglei did not finish his words. Long Fei said, "Other than their guild leader, the rest should all be dead." Lin Yuantu stared intently at Long Fei, his heart secretly shocked. "I never thought that he would actually have this kind of ability, to actually destroy Black Wolf Mercenary. My words just now were a bit too harsh." Lin Yuantu apologized, but at the same time, he also calmed down and asked, "What do you think now?" Long Fei was just an apprentice. Facing the Black Wolf Mercenary, where only one expert was left, it meant that he had done his best and fought with his all. Moreover, how did the Wolf King come back? He escaped. Lin Fenglei was also extremely shocked in his heart. Long Fei said, "I'm not familiar with the Neon City, I need someone to lead the way." Lin Fenglei asked, "Where are you going?" Lin Yuantu said, "Long Fei, don't be reckless." Long Fei said, "I want to go to Black Wolf Mercenaries headquarters. I am not reckless, I am only making those who offend me pay." Lin Yuantu said, "Neon City forbids killing, Neon City has its own laws, once a person is killed, the city lord has the authority to be killed." Long Fei, if you were to say Shuang'er was brought back to Neon City by the Wolf King, she would definitely not be in any danger. The Gui's family is definitely using Shuang'er to threaten tomorrow's large competition. He did not want Long Fei to take action. Because, if things did not go well, Long Fei would die. After all, it was the Gui's family, the #1 clan of the Neon City. Long Fei said fearlessly, "You don't have to worry, I just want to know the location of the Black Wolf Mercenaries headquarters." Lin Fenglei said, "I know, in the west side of the city's biggest courtyard, there is a Black Wolf flag." Long Fei hugged his hands and immediately walked out of the Lin family residence. He did not want to put Phoenix in danger. He was worried about the Phoenix. For some reason, when the Phoenix left him, the only thing that would happen to Long Fei along the way was that his mind was not at ease. Lin Yuantu anxiously stopped Long Fei and said, "Don't be reckless. It was just that." Long Fei didn't listen at all. The word recklessness did not exist in his world. If he did not know the location of the Black Wolf mercenary, he would have killed his way over already and would not have come to the Lin family at all. Moreover, there was only one word in his world: kill. Stepping out of the Lin family household, Long Fei ran towards the west side of the city. Lin Yuantu immediately said, "All three, follow him, don't let him do anything stupid. The Wolf King's cultivation is at the 9th stage of Big Swordsman. This kid is no match for the Wolf King." Lin Fenglei said, "Big brother, don't worry. With this brat's attitude towards me, no matter what, I will not let anything happen to him." Finished. Lin Fenglei quickly followed him out. Black Wolf Mercenary Headquarters. Huff, huff. Hiss, hiss. Please make it lighter for me. The Wolf King sat on the chair with the wolf head, and a doctor was healing him. It was so painful that he started to curse, and his eyes darkened. I really didn't think that this old fox Wu Fengtian was actually a powerhouse of the sword faction, and had hidden him so deeply. Fortunately, I have Lin Shuang'er with me, otherwise, my life really wouldn't have been taken. Yes. Mother asterisk Kerr. Brat, don't let me meet you again, or else I will definitely grind your bones into ashes. Long Fei's figure appeared in the Wolf King's mind. He hated Yi Zichen so much that his teeth itched. Just like that, hundreds of brothers disappeared. The Wolf King hated Long Fei to the bones. "Captain, it's done. I can take the elixir now." The Wolf King immediately took out the spirit pellet Wu Fengtian gave him, and after hesitating for a moment, he swallowed one pellet. He could clearly feel the joints healing rapidly. The Wolf King became excited. "Spiritual medicine is good. A single spiritual medicine actually made me recover 7 or 8 levels." At this time, another minion, Luo, walked in and said, "Captain, those 2 women have already been secretly pushed away." The Wolf King waved his hand and said, "I understand. What a pity. Then the 2 beautiful women are gone from me." The Wolf King secretly clenched his fists. Thinking about Wu Fengtian's methods, his back turned cold. He knew. In the future, you must not be too arrogant in front of Wu Fengtian, or else the outcome will be very miserable. Sigh. Now, how can I reconstruct the Black Wolf mercenary? Just as the Wolf King was thinking about this, outside the courtyard, a roar sounded. "Wolf King, come out and die." The Wolf King's eyes turned sinister. That reckless guy actually dared to behave atrociously in front of my Black Wolf mercenary. When he heard this voice, his eyes glared angrily. "You dog, you're not dead yet." He actually didn't die. He actually didn't die. Chase him to my Black Wolf's door. How preposterous. How preposterous. The Wolf King furiously roared, "Bring me my big blade." 4 minions walked up with trembling hands and a huge saber over 3 meters long on their shoulders. The saber weighed 1,000 jin. The Wolf King raised his hand and shouted, "Let's see how I take your pathetic life." Bam! Taking a step forward, the stairs shattered and a figure dashed into the courtyard. "Wolf King, come out and die." Long Fei fought with all his might. The 2 Black Wolf mercenary lackeys immediately became displeased. They raised their large blades and rushed in front of Long Fei, then pointed it at the center of Long Fei's brows and cursed, "You dog, is this a place for you to behave atrociously? Are you tired of living? If you are tired of living, I will send you on your way." Before he could finish, the blade came slashing down. The power of the swordsman rank was not weak. In the distance, Lin Fenglei immediately shouted out, "Be careful." It was just that. Long Fei's body twisted, he dodged, and the long sword in his hand lightly slashed. Crack! His throat was broken as fresh blood spurted out. The gash on his head opened up and the blood splattered onto the floor. The system sounded out. Ding! Congratulations to the player Long Fei for killing the Black Wolf mercenary. Do you want to ingest its level? No. Long Fei didn't even think about it. The other lackey Luo did not even have time to react. He stared at Long Fei and said, You actually dared to kill." Not waiting for him to finish, Long Fei moved his body again, and his throat pierced. "One sword kill." The system sounded out again. Ding! Long Fei ignored him. 2 sword attacks and 2 swordsman rank minions were instantly killed. If it wasn't for the fact that she saw Lin Fenglei personally, she wouldn't believe it, but how could her apprentice do such a thing? Long Fei's footsteps were indeed sharp, but no matter how strong he was, it was impossible for him to be that strong. However, killing a twin swordsman minion was like cutting through cabbage. Lin Fenglei looked at the dead body lying in the pool of blood, one sword to seal the throat, this sword technique. It looks simple, but it's exceptionally sharp. Long Fei had already stepped into the Black Wolf residence. Lin Fenglei caught up quickly and shouted loudly, "Brat, don't be rash." Long Fei never stopped. Stepping into the Black Wolf courtyard, he shouted once more, "Wolf King, come out and die." A few lackeys rushed forward. "Damn it, you dare come to our Black Wolf mercenary to cause trouble? I think you're tired of living. Kill. Kid, today is the day you die. A waste of the apprentice realm dares to come here and behave atrociously? Die, brat." A few underlings rushed towards Long Fei with a strong killing intent. With a slash of their long blades, they revealed their ultimate moves, with the 4 blades sealing off Long Fei's front, back, left and right. Long Fei squinted his eyes, remained calm and collected, and moved like the wind. Break. He blocked the incoming sword with his sword and dashed forward. Crack. The long blade broke into pieces, and one of the minions' heads was cut off. Long Fei's body moved again, and according to the position of the snake's tongue, 3 sword attacks killed the other 3. Long Fei had already reached level 4 in training basic sword techniques. He was extremely familiar with the way swords were used. Even people with a cultivation higher than 10 levels could be killed in an instant. Adding on the demon beast's profound chi that he had been devouring in the King of Beasts Valley for the past 2 days, his body became stronger than ordinary swordsmen. 4 people had died. Long Fei stomped his foot on their heads and shouted once again, "Wolf King, get out here right now." Lin Fenglei caught up, and as he watched his 4 lackeys fall on the ground, the shock in his heart grew even stronger. Demoness, he's a complete demoness. At this moment, boom, a heavy trampling sound could be heard, followed by the sound of a wind-breaking blade appearing in the air. Hualala. The blade chi condensed to form the essence. It cut towards Long Fei like a half-moon. Lin Fenglei's gaze tensed up, high-level blade technique, Wolf King's Wind Wolf Slash. "Kid, be careful," Lin Fenglei exclaimed. Long Fei's eyes tensed up. Looking at the huge half-moon blade chi, he took a light step forward and twisted his body. However, the instant he took a step forward, his pupils constricted. Because at this step, he felt another wave of force attacking him. Crash. With an explosive sound, a wall suddenly cracked. The Wolf King waved his big blade, and slashed at the spot where Long Fei landed. "You dog, hand over your life." Wind Wolf 8,000 slashes. Ah! With a roar, the Wolf King could not wait to hack Long Fei's body into 18 pieces. Lin Fenglei's face changed, and said, "Damn it." The Wind Wolf 8,000 slash was the Wolf King's strongest blade technique. This technique was something even the average sword sect wouldn't be able to block. Lin Fenglei was also unable to resist. If it was him, then the only thing he could do with this move was to ensure that he wouldn't die. However, he would be seriously injured, and even lose an arm. Seeing Long Fei not moving, Lin Fenglei became even more worried. Long Fei's eyes narrowed slightly. He watched as the gigantic blade chi pressed over from all directions. Huff! Long Fei let out a light breath. His own cultivation could not withstand it. However, Long Fei did not hesitate, his mind moved, ancient dragon body. Buzz! A stream of power surged out from his body. His aura suddenly changed. He stood still on the spot and let the Wolf King slash down. The Wolf King also felt the change in Long Fei's aura, but so what if it changed? He was at the 9th stage of Big Swordsman. What could a mere apprentice do? He would die just the same. Boom. The long saber chopped down. Lin Fenglei did not even dare open his eyes to look, and his heart went cold. It's over. With this cut, Long Fei was dead for sure. Crack. Hualala. A series of sounds of metal shattering rang out. Lin Fenglei opened his eyes, and noticed that the Wolf King's long blade was breaking into pieces, and his blade had stopped 3 centimeters above Long Fei's head. It wasn't that he was stopping, it was that he couldn't continue the attack. The Wolf King's pupils dilated, as if it had seen a ghost. Both of his eyes stared at Long Fei in fear, then looking at the broken blade, which was falling down piece by piece, he could not believe it. Impossible. This is impossible. You are just an apprentice cultivator, this is impossible. Not waiting for him to finish, Long Fei fiercely stomped his feet. Bam! In a flash, he landed right in front of the Wolf King. He grabbed the Wolf King's throat and raised it into the air before ferociously smashing it to the ground. Boom! The ground caved in and the floor shattered. The Wolf King spat out a mouthful of blood. Long Fei's eyes were like a god of death. He asked solemnly, "Where are those 2 women?" The Wolf King was in extreme pain, its face was pale white. Looking at Long Fei, it roared in anger, "I won't tell you, ha ha ha." Crack! If he used a little more strength with his 2 fingers, his throat would shatter. Long Fei said in an especially gloomy voice, "Speak. Speak. Speak." If not for the fact that he needed to know where the phoenix had gone to from the Wolf King, Long Fei would have probably killed the Wolf King already. Dragons were exceptionally violent creatures. With the dragon body within Long Fei's body and Long Baishan's body, the first dragon of ancient world became even more violent. Staring at the Wolf King, it was as if the Wolf King had been instantly devoured. Lin Fenglei, who was at the side, was completely dumbstruck. His entire person was completely stunned by Long Fei, and he was even more so, unable to speak due to the pressure emitted from Long Fei's body. What realm of pressure is this? Seeing the Wolf King not saying anything, Long Fei's eyes widened again. "Speak up." Boom. Extremely strong. The Wolf King was so scared that it started to tremble. His crotch was drenched. Bam! His heart shattered. Boom! His sea of consciousness had shattered. The wound on his head also became 0 in an instant, and his heart was directly crushed by Long Fei's chi. When Long Fei saw that the wound on the Wolf King's head had turned into 0, his eyes became angry. It directly strangled the Wolf King. Fresh blood spurted out. Long Fei's eyes were extremely dark and gloomy. With a sweep of his gaze, Lin Fenglei was the only person left in the courtyard. Lin Fenglei was already rendered speechless by the aura of Long Fei, so he could only stand in place and not dare to move. Ding! Congratulations to the player Long Fei for killing Black Wolf Captain and Wolf King. Are you absorbing your cultivation? Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining 10,239 gold coins. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the Scarlet Flame Blade. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining a series of system BPS, but the things that they dropped were all trash. Long Fei didn't even spare them a glance. However, also because the system beep had calmed Long Fei down quite a bit, his aura had been retracted a bit. As the pressure weakened, Lin Fenglei's face was completely red. He gasped for breath and said anxiously, "Long Fei, calm down." He could feel the brutality in Long Fei's aura. If he was not calm, he felt that Long Fei would not be able to control him. Long Fei rushed into the courtyard and searched around. At the same time, he had killed everyone in the Black Wolf headquarters. It was just that. In the end, he still did not inquire about Phoenix's whereabouts. It was very clear that Phoenix and Lin Shuang'er were not here at all. Long Fei became even more manic in his heart. However, the system beep had calmed him down quite a bit. Who? Long Fei, who had calmed down a bit, withdrew his ancient dragon body and turned around, walked to Lin Fenglei's side and said, "Do you know who gave him this mission?" As long as he could find the person who gave the quest, he would be able to find Phoenix. Lin Fenglei knew, but he did not say that the current Long Fei was like a ticking time bomb that could explode at any time. This is extremely dangerous. He did not understand Long Fei, but the ruthless aura that erupted from Long Fei's body just now made him feel as if Long Fei's cultivation had gone berserk. He had to calm Long Fei down. Lin Fenglei said, "Don't be anxious, they caught Shuang'er definitely because of tomorrow's Neon City tournament. Shuang'er should be safe before that. Long Fei's eyes turned sinister as he asked, "Is it Gui's family?" Lin Fenglei immediately shook his head. "This is uncertain. The Lin family is also a huge family in the Neon City. There are a lot of people who want to target the Lin family. I'll definitely know tomorrow. Other than the Gui's family, which family would it be?" However, he could not allow Long Fei to take the risk. Gui's family's strength is above Black Wolf mercenaries. Long Fei said in a heavy voice, "It's possible for a family of Neon City, right?" Lin Fenglei said, "That's right. After all, tomorrow is the annual Neon City tournament. It is extremely important to any family, so they definitely captured Schwanger to coerce the Lin family." Without waiting for him to finish speaking, Long Fei walked out with large strides. Lin Fenglei said anxiously, "Where are you going? What are you going to do?" Long Fei, "Don't worry, everything will surface tomorrow, don't." Lin Fenglei chased after him, but he completely ignored the words that he said. A few minutes later, Long Fei stood in front of a big gate and raised his eyes. "Liu family?" Looking at Lin Fenglei, who had caught up, he asked, "Is the Liu family a big family in Neon City?" Lin Fenglei said, "Of course, the Liu family, they control the Neon Cities." Not waiting for him to finish. Bam! The Liu family's gate was immediately smashed into pieces by Long Fei's kick, and with a loud bang, he shouted, "Get out here." Lin Fenglei was dumbstruck. He did not know why Long Fei suddenly looked as if he had gone mad. Did he really love Lin Schwanger that much? But didn't they only know each other for a few days? Was he so much in love that he couldn't be separated? He did not know that Long Fei did not care about Lin Schwanger, but the phoenix. In his heart, he couldn't lose the phoenix. It was as if he owed her something from his previous life. The rage in his heart was burning fiercely. Even if he had to kill Neon City, he had to find the phoenix. Who is it? Who dares to behave so atrociously in my Liu family? Kid, are you tired of living? Dozens of Liu clan disciples rushed out. Long Fei asked coldly, "Was it you who gave this mission to the Black Wolf mercenary?" An old man shouted, "What Black Wolf mercenary? What mission? I do not know what you are talking about, but... Brat, no matter who you are, if you dare to behave atrociously in this place, don't even think about leaving this place alive. Someone, come. Kill them all." Long Fei's eyes darkened, and said, "You're not going to speak? Then let's kill all of you." With a wave of his sword, the silhouette of the other party appeared in the midst of the crowd, dashing straight into the midst of the crowd. The basic sword art moved. One stab, one lift, one slash, one break. Every move was very simple, but every move was an instant kill. 10 minutes later, the entire Liu clan was already in a river of blood. "I really didn't give Black Wolf mercenary a mission. My lord, we really don't know who you're looking for. My lord." Liu Hao's body was split in half. Staring at Long Fei, he died with grievance. They simply did not know who they had offended, and they did not even know who Long Fei was. Lin Fenglei, who was at the side, became more and more dumbstruck the more he saw this. Was simply an executioner, a completely mad executioner. This was too crazy. He was simply a crazy demon dweller. Is he even human? Is he human? Lin Fenglei's heart was trembling. With a miserable shriek, the battle ended. There was not a single survivor in the Liu family. He searched up and down the entire Liu family, but he could not find Phoenix. The hostility in Long Fei's eyes did not weaken, and became even stronger. Moreover, his heart became even more restless. Zhong Xian clenched his fists tightly. Long Fei carried his blooded sword and walked out of the Liu family residence. He walked onto the main street and looked at the luxurious mansion's gate in the distance. What? The Liu family has been exterminated? Black Wolf mercenary, don't slaughter them too? What happened? Gui's family. Gui Tianyi was a little confused. Regardless of whether it was the Black Wolf mercenary or the Liu family, they were both top powers in the Neon City, and every family had an existence that was less than 100 years old in the city. Why was his clan suddenly exterminated? There was no sign. It was simply impossible for the great clans of the Neon City to annihilate two great powers in such a short period of time. Father, who cares about who he is? In any case, he will be beneficial to our Gui's family. Gui Taibao had already come out of seclusion. Moreover, his cultivation had risen by another level, especially in the area of sword arts. He had made an even greater breakthrough. This was all thanks to the old man beside him, the big sword sect powerhouse, a senior elder of the Heaven's Illumination sect. Gui Tianyi said indifferently, "Tomorrow is the day of the large competition. Something must have happened between the two forces at this time." Gui Taibao was unconcerned. If anything happens, it will be the best. Isn't the Liu family in control of the fabric business in the Neon City? Soon, our Gui's family will be able to take over. Gui Tianyi coldly snorted and said, "Do you want everyone in the Neon City to think that it was our Gui's family who annihilated the Liu family? No brain." Gui Taibao tilted his head, expressing his displeasure. Gui Tianyi asked, "How is your sword technique cultivation?" Gui Taibao said, "Father, you can rest assured, I will definitely take first place in tomorrow's large competition." Gui Tianyi said, "That's good, then I'll thank your godfather for this." Gui Taibao said, "I know, when I enter the ancient antiquity, I will definitely return the favor." However, wasn't Black Wolf Mercenaries Guild leader groomed by his godfather? Since Black Wolf was killed, your godfather should know. Why didn't he come here? When he said this, Gui Tianyi's heart also tightened. In the past, whenever something happened, Wu Fengtian would immediately rush here to discuss it. But now that the Black Wolf mercenaries had been killed and the Liu family had been annihilated, Wu Fengtian did not have any reaction at all. This is a little unusual. However, Gui Tianyi did not mind. Your godfather is the city lord, he has many matters to attend to. He did not have any guard against Wu Fengtian. Because the city lord's mansion would not send any representatives to participate in this year's large competition. In other words, they would not pose any threat to the Gui's family. Gui Tianyi still had some understanding of this senior brother. Of course, all he knew was the surface. Report. A disciple hurriedly walked into the hall and said, "Patriarch, we just received news that the Feng and Liu families have been exterminated." What? Gui Tianyi's eyes became tight. "Have you found out who did it?" Gui Taibao grinned. "Is this man crazy? Killing people this way? For what?" The disciple said, "We have yet to find out about this, but Lin Fenglei has been following that man this entire time. Could he be an expert invited by the Lin family?" Gui Taibao's eyes became serious. An expert invited by the Lin family? Gui Tianyi said, "Impossible, the Lin families or sales have stopped. Lin Yuantu is simply unable to take out the money to invite the experts. Moreover, even if the experts were hired, it would be impossible for them to slaughter as much as they wanted for the Lin clan. Killing like this would not benefit a single person's cultivation. If too many people were killed, there would be many tribulations. Cultivation is also cultivation, and life force. If one causes too much killing, it will hinder the cultivation of the body, unless it is a demonic cultivator. Demonic cultivators would also receive a heavy punishment from the heavens in the end." Gui Taibao laughed and said, "Two less opponents, ha ha ha. Die. It would be better if you all died. This way, the entire Neon City will belong to our Gui's family, ha ha ha." Gui Tianyi frowned and said, "Go check again, see if that person was invited by the Lin family or not." "Right. Is there any news from the city lord's mansion?" Gui Tianyi casually asked. The disciple shook his head. "There's no news from the city lord's mansion." "All right, you can go now." Gui Tianyi's heart became even more doubtful. Destroyed another two families? The corner of Wu Fengtian's mouth curled up as he laughed coldly. "Well done, you helped me clear a few more obstacles once again, ha ha ha. I never thought that a waste of the apprentice realm would be able to annihilate so many families. Could it be for just one Lin Shuang'er?" Wu Fengtian watched the two women being locked up in the secret room from the side. One was Lin Shuang'er, and the other was Phoenix. Lin Shuang'er was indeed beautiful. No matter if it was her figure or appearance, Any man would never forget the Neon City's #1 beauty. However, to a cultivator, no matter how beautiful a woman was, she was merely a toy. So what if she was beautiful? It was absolutely impossible for a single person to cause such a huge bloodbath. Wu Fengtian looked at the other woman. It couldn't be said that she was a woman, it could only be said that she was a girl. In the secret room, Phoenix was very casual. She wasn't depressed by being locked up here at all. She even smiled from time to time, unperturbed and not afraid in the slightest. This was something that Lin Shuang'er could not compare with at all. It's very strange. This girl is also very unfamiliar, she has never appeared in Neon City before. Wu Fengtian squinted. Could it be that apprentice went crazy because of her? Wu Fengtian was secretly suspicious in his heart, and said to the guard beside him, "Go and check if this girl has any records of entering the city." "Yes, sir." The guard left. Wu Fengtian looked at the Phoenix in the secret room. At this moment, Phoenix was also looking at him. They looked at each other. Wu Fengtian's mind suddenly tensed, not knowing why he suddenly felt a chill in his heart. His gaze retracted, and he fiercely took a step back. Huff! Wu Fengtian let out a heavy breath. What happened to me? How can he be scared by a 10-year-old child? He felt that it was strange, and when he looked again, he realized that Phoenix was talking about something beside Lin Shuang'er. Wu Fengtian shook his head. It must be my imagination. Why would I be scared by a little kid? They fought from the west side of the city to the south side. In a row, there were 9 great clans, 2 second-rate clans, and 3 mercenary groups. In total, 14 clans were massacred by Long Fei. They didn't even know who Long Fei was. Lin Fenglei had been following behind Long Fei the entire time, and he was already unable to stop her. The strength Long Fei had displayed was too strong. That sort of aura was something that he had never seen before. Long Fei kept on killing, all the way until night. In the end, he managed to kill his way to the Lin Palace, and after half a circle, he returned. Lin Yuantu also knew what happened during the day. The moment he saw Long Fei, he immediately pulled on Long Fei's hand and said, "Long Fei, we can't continue any longer." Long Fei's eyes turned red as he stared at Lin Yuantu. The dragon eye moved. That kind of pressure, the kind of dense killing intent released from Long Fei's body. Instantly, Lin Yuantu was crushed. His mind, his sea of consciousness, even his heartbeat was crushed. He was completely unable to move. And looking into Long Fei's eyes. At that moment, Lin Yuantu almost kneeled on the ground. Their gazes met, and none of them could bear the pressure. Their gazes met, and none of them could bear the pressure. Long Fei in his ancient dragon body state was too powerful. Moreover, this was only the elementary stage of ancient dragon body, and Lin Yuantu was already unable to endure it with just a glance. If it was the ancient dragon body of the peak realm, then perhaps with just a glance, it would be able to cause Lin Yuantu's soul flying to collapse. This was the power of the powerhouse. Lin Yuantu's mind slightly trembled, his face flushed red, as he said with difficulty, "Dragon, Long Fei, it's me, I'm Shuang'er's father." Lin Fenglei also anxiously ran over and said, "Long Fei, calm down." Long Fei's pupils contracted. He let out a deep breath of air and retracted the power of his ancient dragon body at the same time. Looking at Lin Yuantu's painful expression, he lightly said, "Sorry, Uncle Lin, you were a bit too rash earlier." It was only an apology. Long Fei did not say too much. Of course. Even if he did not say it, Lin Yuantu would not dare to do anything to Long Fei. Because this was the world of the powerhouse. Lin Yuantu said again, I'm fine, but you, how are you? Do you know how many families you have slaughtered in this world?" That was a total of 14 major powers. Basically, all of the Neon City's families were slaughtered. After going around half of the West Gate to the East Gate, 2/3 of the Neon City's families were wiped out. Blood flowed like a river, and corpses littered the fields. However, there was not a single ripple in Long Fei's pupils. Killing people was nothing important to him, and even if he died for the sake of the Phoenix, Long Fei did not feel much about it. "Oh." Long Fei replied softly and asked, "Uncle Lin, do you know which family took Shuang'er away?" Hearing Long Fei's dull "oh," Lin Yuantu looked at Long Fei's unperturbed expression, and his heart was filled with astonishment. What kind of person is he, exactly? To think that the person who killed so many people only uttered an "oh." This. Lin Fenglei quickly replied, "We don't know either, but I'll know for sure tomorrow." As they spoke, Lin Fenglei shot Lin Yuantu a look. Lin Yuantu clearly understood Lin Fenglei's intention. He wanted Long Fei to represent the Lin family and fight on their behalf. Lin Fenglei had followed Lin Yuantu for a day today. He knew how terrifying Long Fei was. If Long Fei could help the Lin family fight, then the Lin family would definitely be the champion of this year's tournament. Long Fei's gaze was not noticed by Long Fei, and the center of his brows tightened. After hesitating for a moment, he wanted to say something, but Long Fei did not wait for him to speak, and said, "I will fight on behalf of the Lin family tomorrow." Finished. Walking into the Lin residence, Lin Yuantu followed up and said, "If you feel that it's difficult, you can refuse. After all, you and Schwanger aren't married yet." Lin Fenglei said, "Sooner or later, it will all be one family. He will be participating in the competition as the Lin family's son-in-law, so his status is just right." Lin Yuantu said, "I know you are very powerful, but I will still meet some experts in the competition field. Gui Taibao will be in closed-door cultivation secretly for the next few days. He will definitely have a big improvement, and is also that powerful warrior from the Zhao family." Along the way, Long Fei did not speak a word. Lin Yuantu and Lin Fenglei followed behind Long Fei all the way to the remote courtyard in his residence. Long Fei stood at the courtyard entrance, turned around and looked at the two of them, and said, "Please go back, I will be there during the large competition tomorrow." Finished. Long Fei closed the courtyard door. Bam! The instant the door closed, Long Fei's body sank. It was as if he had just entered the ancient world. His entire body was being crushed by a powerful gravitational force, making it extremely difficult for him to even walk. Right now, it was as if Long Fei's body was weighed 1,000,000 kilograms. Taking a single step forward was akin to moving a mountain. The after effects of overloading the ancient dragon body? My cultivation is too low, and I am unable to sustain the powerful ancient dragon body. Huff. Long Fei sat on the ground and heavily gasped for air. Thinking back to how he had been crazily killing for the past day, his own heart secretly tightened. Beneath the ancient dragon body, one's killing intent, violent aura, and mania were all completely out of control. It was as though they could do as they wished, which was an extremely good feeling, but Long Fei did not want to be controlled by this power. He is him, his name is Long Fei, not Long Batian. It didn't matter if he was Long Baishan's reincarnation, or if the ancient dragon body was Long Baishan's power, or whose power, but right now, it was his own strength. He would not become anyone's substitute, nor would he become anyone's chess piece. Huff, huff. Hoo. Long Fei's entire body was drenched, his breath was ragged like an ox, and he thought to himself, in the future, if you don't meet any powerhouse that can use this kind of power, you can't use it as you wish. I need my own strength. I need to break through. I need to level up. I want. Long Fei was really unable to hold on, and his eyelids felt as though they weighed 10,000 kilograms, as he slowly closed them. He was too tired. He needed rest. The next second, Long Fei fell into a deep sleep. In his dreams, a cute girl with big eyes and black hair stood beside him, looking at him with a worried expression. Young master, what's wrong? I am Jojo." The scene changed. A phoenix descended, transformed into a beautiful big girl. Its eyes blinked as it looked at Long Fei, and said, young master, I became a phoenix, thank you for giving me the blood vein, hey. Ah! A shrill, mournful scream rang out. An extremely strong wave of energy came crushing down. Long Fei's eyes narrowed, he didn't know how to resist, and at the same time, a huge phoenix blocked in front of him, blocking all of that destructive power. In the end, it turned around and looked at Long Fei, smiled faintly, and said, young master. That peaceful and cute smile. No matter what, she was a girl that would put Long Fei in front of everything. A girl from a phoenix blood vein. Suddenly, in his dreams, the shadow of the Emperor Xian suddenly appeared. With a posture of being the supreme ruler of the world, he sneered sinisterly. Another extremely strong force descended. Long Fei panicked. In his dreams, he was screaming and screaming at the top of his lungs. However, the Phoenix girl did not seem to be able to hear him and only smiled at him. No, don't do it. Under the Emperor Xian's powerful attack, the Phoenix slowly disappeared, and she watched as her body slowly turned into ashes, before finally dissipating into the air. Long Fei panicked. He desperately wanted to catch her, but no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't protect her. Don't do it. Long Fei opened his eyes and suddenly woke up with a start, his fists clenched tight, his entire body drenched in cold sweat. Thinking back to everything that had happened in his dream, Long Fei looked at the night sky. The idea moved: enter the instance dungeon. Long Fei wanted to become stronger. Long Fei wanted to become stronger. He wanted to become stronger than anyone else. Recalling the scene in the dream, he felt a lingering fear. He could not hand over the Phoenix girl's name, but he knew that it was she who had saved him. Under the powerful attack of the Emperor Xian, she used her own body to save him. He did not know if the dreamscape was an illusion or if it was something that had happened before. No matter what kind of Long Fei it was, he would not let it reappear. Long Fei woke up from his dream, sweating profusely. Although his body was still very tired, he couldn't wait to recover because he didn't have time. The sky was about to brighten. He had to be prepared for today's large competition. He had to find Phoenix. Enter the dungeon. Buzz. A buzzing sound could be heard in his eardrums, and his body suddenly blurred. An uproar. Long Fei's idea appeared at the entrance of a wind tunnel, just like a teleportation gate in a game. Floating above the wind tunnel were two words: Wild Beast. This was the name of the instance dungeon. Who? Long Fei let out a light breath and stepped inside. The wind tunnel swallowed him up. The system also chimed in. Ding. System notification. Player has entered the Berserk Beast dungeon. You can use it 0 times. Ding. System notification. Player entered the instance dungeon, killing 100 Berserk Beasts, clearing the instance dungeon. Once dead, down to rank 3. Once died. Dungeon failed. No one can enter again. Unable to obtain the dungeon reward. Let the challenge begin. With that said, the world that was void in Long Fei's eyes suddenly changed. Almost immediately. Looking at the scene in front of him, Long Fei was shocked. It was not only because the stage that the system lived in was too fast, but also because this stage. It was actually a battle between King of Beasts Valley's Holy Sha *T. System, aren't you going too far? You actually managed to move the King of Beasts Valley's terrain over here. Long Fei muttered. His heart quivered as he thought, it looks like the system is keeping an eye on me all the time. Otherwise, how would it know that I've been to the King of Beasts Valley, and how would it move the terrain of the King of Beasts Valley into the system? Long Fei felt that he was being watched. However, he had no way to retaliate against the system, so he could only allow the system to press him to the ground and rub him as he pleased. When I find the creator of this system, I'll definitely let him have a taste of being watched. Long Fei disdainfully said, if I, your father, was the developer, I would have researched a system that allows planes to travel to and from each other. No matter where in the world I am, I can teleport back to Earth. That would be great. Long Fei was secretly dissatisfied with the system. He really wanted to see Earth. Back when he was training on the moon and saw the blue Earth, he really wanted to go back. However, the system had set a taboo, and he just couldn't go back. At that time, he was already thinking of whether he could really find a developer of the system one day. If he did not act cool, could he develop a system that could travel across the Earth? Of course. If the developers were to act arrogantly, then there should be no later. Just as Long Fei was thinking about all these, a roar burst out from the valley. Roar. With a furious roar, the entire valley shook. At this moment, the 100 wild beasts in the valley roared at the same time, as if a new monster had spawned in the game. Every wild beast shook the earth and shook the mountains. In a short while, there were 100 of them. Then it wouldn't just be earth shaking and mountains shaking. Long Fei couldn't even stand steadily anymore. Damn. Isn't this a little too fierce? Long Fei's pupils tightened, he lifted his sword and walked into the valley. They were already in the dungeon. Even if they were facing the King of Hell or the Death God, Long Fei would chop off the heads of these King of Hell and the God of Death with his iron sword. Roar. The forest let out a furious roar, and rushed out of the dense forest the instant Long Fei stepped into it, as if pulling out dried weeds and rotten wood, and those towering trees were directly smashed into pieces, just like a heavy bulldozer. Rumble. 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 From top to bottom, the towering trees, branches, and leaves flew all over the place. Long Fei's breath slightly sank. Fuck. Without much thought, he turned around and ran. He didn't run deeper into the dungeon, but towards the outskirts of the valley. Before clearing the dungeon, he didn't need to rush around randomly. After killing 100 wild beasts, Long Fei didn't even know what the wild beasts looked like or what their attributes were. If he recklessly attacked, it would only create trouble for him. The moment the wild beast rushed out, Long Fei quickly retreated out of the valley. Bam! The huge shadow pressed down heavily. It pressed down towards Long Fei's head. Red name. As long as you enter the attack range, you will immediately take the initiative to attack. Long Fei said as he ran. Red name monster. In the game, they would actively attack. Long Fei moved as though he was flying. He activated the walk like a snake to its limit and narrowly avoided the attack. Rumble. The wild beast descended, pressing onto the ground. The ground caved in and sand and dirt violently splashed out. It was also at this moment. Long Fei saw the wild beast clearly. Damn, why do you want to kill such a disgusting Shrek? Eat your father's sword first. The moment Long Fei moved, the longsword moved, one strike with intent. A bright red number floated above the beast's head. The health of the wild beast also appeared. 9999 10,000 HP. F***CK. A strike with the mind's strike only deals a little bit of damage to your HP. It's only worth 10,000 HP. You want to kill a strike with the heart strike with 10,000 HP? I still have to kill 100 more, how will I kill them? This instant's dungeon. Impossible. System, you must be F***king joking with lousy, right? Long Fei said fiercely. One strike of enlightenment will was already Long Fei's strongest attack power, but it could only deal 1 damage. If he wanted to kill a berserk beast, he would need a lot of enlightenment will to do so, and he wouldn't be able to successfully unleash this attack every time. It was too difficult. 100 berserk beasts. This was impossible. Long Fei raised his sword and quickly rushed out of the valley. It was also at this time. The moment Long Fei rushed out of the valley, the Shrek-mad beast stopped its pursuit. It was as if it had lost its hatred towards him and was unable to track his aura. Heh! Long Fei was secretly shocked. Could it be that the outside of the valley is a safe zone? Long Fei stepped into the valley. Roar! That wild beast rushed towards Long Fei like a thunderbolt. As soon as Long Fei took a step out of the valley, that wild beast immediately stopped pursuing the matter. The berserk aura on his body also disappeared. Looks like there's a safe area outside the valley. Wild beasts won't leave the valley. Not bad. Otherwise, you won't even have the chance to breathe. Long Fei let out a heavy breath, looked at the valley and said, although this instant's dungeon is very difficult, the system must have a way since it wants my apprentice to pass it. There must be a bug. Since the system was set, then there must be a way to pass. Since the system was set, then there must be a way to pass. Although Long Fei was not a professional gamer of that game, he was proficient in all kinds of games in his life on Earth. There were more than 10,000 of them, big and small, and the number of times he had passed them had reached 100,000. Let's not talk about the simple instance dungeon. As long as they reached level, were complicated, or even a boss dungeon, they would have a shortcut. A certain attack could inflict multiple times the damage. In the map, there was a position that could block the monster's attack. A boss only needed to hit a special place to break through the defense. There was a trap in one of the maps. It was even possible for a bug to appear in a direct instance dungeon. As long as it was an instance dungeon designed by a human, there would definitely be some imperfections. This imperfection was none other than the bug. As long as he could find this bug, he would be able to pass it easily. If he wanted to rely on killing one beast after another to kill 100, who knows how long it would take? It was impossible to pass with normal methods. Moreover, Long Fei could only use his own strength in the instance dungeon. He could not use the power of the ancient dragon body. In other words, unless you find the bug, you won't be able to clear this dungeon. Long Fei calmed down. It was basically impossible to pass this instance dungeon, but he did not give up. Phoenix was waiting for him to save her. He needed the system reward this time. It was an extremely illusory image. Now that he was a sword cultivator, the berserk beast swordplay was very important to him. In addition, he could also reward a wild beast, which was even more necessary. There must be a way. There must be a way. The system can't give me an instance dungeon that I can't clear. Long Fei, you are a genius gamer. If it wasn't for the fact that you don't have the money on Earth to live your life in a modern way, you would be much better than those professional gamers. You found so many instance dungeons like the bugs. You can even find this one. Long Fei encouraged himself as his mind continued to think frantically. The wild beast's appearance played over and over in his mind. He was sure he hadn't missed a single suspicious point. He didn't find anything obvious, which meant that there was nothing special about the monster. Health. 10,000 points. Attributes. Not yet. Red monster. Chase after anyone you see. Attack. It should be a melee attack. Speed. If it's speed. If I were to use all my strength to run, I wouldn't be able to catch up within half an hour. Speed is a weakness, but even if its speed was slow, I still wouldn't be able to kill it. Ignore this weakness. Long Fei's brain was like a computer, crazily calculating. No way. No way. That won't do. It still won't work. Long Fei's tightly shut eyes suddenly opened, his eyebrows tightly knitted, and he asked, "Can't find a way? Or did I miss something?" Huff. Long Fei looked at the majestic and precipitous valley, and said, "I must enter the map again, and figure out the terrain first." Since he couldn't find any weak points on the monster's body, he could only look at its terrain. If he had the advantage of a natural card, he might be able to complete the instance dungeon. Long Fei took a deep breath out. Phew. Immediately, he stepped into the valley. Before Shrek could react, he shot forward like an arrow. Roar. A roar. Shrek chased after him at full speed. He had too many antennae on his body, his armor was too thick, his movement speed was very fierce, but it was not very fast. He could not catch up to Long Fei in a short period of time, he could only follow behind Long Fei. Long Fei rushed in all directions, not sparing a single special location. This was also the reason. Almost all of Shrek's forces had been attracted by him as they frantically chased after him. That scene. It was just like having a huge army on his butt. The valley had been thrown into a mess by this group of wild beasts, and it looked like the entire valley was about to collapse. Rumble. Rumble. Roar. More and more Shrek continued to chase after Long Fei. After a few hours, Long Fei scoured the entire valley, but did not find any caves or any special places to place his card. Rocks were useless, as these degenerate bulldozers would directly turn them into sand. No bugs in the terrain. The monsters don't have any weaknesses. The terrain doesn't have any weaknesses either. How am I supposed to complete the instance dungeon? This. Long Fei locked his eyebrows. The bug in the game is simply these two. If there are still any problems, then it's just a problem with the program. System. Did you intentionally keep me from clearing the instance dungeon? Damn you. Long Fei cursed in his heart once again as he looked at the sky above the valley, and said solemnly, "If the valley doesn't exist, then let's look at the mountain peak." There was no inspection of the valley. However, Long Fei did not hold much hope either. If he still could not find a way to clear the level, Long Fei would choose to give up. Although the time between here and outside was 10:1, he couldn't afford to waste it either. Moreover, today was still a big day. If he missed today and didn't find the phoenix, what would he do? Long Fei didn't have much time to waste. He had to resolve this instant's dungeon as soon as possible. If he could not, he had to give up just for the sake of Phoenix. At most, he would just use the power of the ancient dragon body. There was no problem for the power of the ancient dragon body to crush Neon City. After all, this kind of place was only a mortal world, and the ancient dragon body was a godlike existence. However, would have to endure a great deal of pain to use the ancient dragon body. Long Fei jumped with all his might. Bam! He jumped out and quickly ran towards the top of the mountain. Shrek, who was surrounded by a group of shrews, followed behind him. Every single Shrek, who was in a frenzy, wished that they could swallow Long Fei whole. Their names were Brilliant Red, which also meant how much they wanted to kill Long Fei. He ran from the middle of the mountain to the top of the mountain, constantly searching and constantly checking, but he just couldn't find the bug he was looking for. Really? The system is really playing with me. Long Fei frowned as he rushed to the top of the valley in a single breath. Because his speed was too fast, he almost jumped off the cliff. It was a few minutes before he heard the sound of falling rocks. Moreover, the ground was full of stones that had fallen by mistake. If he was a little bit careless and fell down, he would be pierced through. Long Fei looked at the cliff, and a cold sweat broke out on his forehead. Huff! Since it's a cliff behind the valley, holy *T. This map. Suddenly, Long Fei looked at the red-furred Shrek who was rushing towards him recklessly, and his eyes narrowed. Bug. Ha ha ha. I found it. I finally found it. Genius. What a genius. Long Fei laughed crazily because he had discovered a method to clear the level in one go. In the Lin residence. In the Lin residence. The sun had risen. The door to Long Fei's courtyard was still closed. Lin Fenglei had arrived early in the morning, and seeing that the gate of the courtyard was shut tight and did not dare to disturb him, he did not dare to disturb his rest. After all, after the massacre the day before, half of the Neon City had rivers of blood. He was the only one who had experienced all these, and fear existed in his heart towards Long Fei. It's not open yet. Lin Yuantu also walked over. Lin Fenglei nodded and replied, Amen, I have already waited here for more than 2 hours. There is no sound coming from the courtyard, I don't know if I am resting or... He didn't finish his sentence, but his hands tightened into fists. Lin Fenglei really hoped that Long Fei would represent the Lin family and fight. Only then would Long Fei be able to suppress everything. If Long Fei does not fight, forget about the Neon City tournament this time, perhaps his Lin family would be the one to blame for the massacre of the dozen or so families. This time, the Lin family really stood at the gates of hell. The one who decided the Lin family's life and death was Long Fei. If Long Fei had left the Lin family last night, Lin Fenglei did not dare think about it. If he did, the consequences would be too serious, and the Lin family would definitely not be able to take it. His eyes tensed up, but he could not help but say, Big brother, could it be that he left? This was what he was most worried about. Lin Yuantu also frowned slightly. Although he looked calm on the surface, he was actually a bit nervous in his heart. Looking at the tightly shut gate in the courtyard, he said, If he wants to leave, we can't stop him either. Lin Fenglei said, Big brother, if he leaves, then this Neon City competition will not be a competition anymore, it will become a Lin family extermination assembly. Yesterday's incident has already caused the remaining families to band together to oppress our Lin family. If he is not here, no one can stop him. I'm worried right now. The more Lin Fenglei said, the more worried he became. Long Fei ran, and the Lin family fell into the abyss. Lin Yuantu heaved a sigh of relief, looked at the sky and said, If that's the case, then this might be the Lin family's life. Lin Fenglei said, Big brother, should I go in to take a look? As he spoke, he moved forward. Just as he was about to knock on the door, Lin Yuantu called out to him, Third brother, don't go. Lin Fenglei said, Big brother, what if he overslept? Powerhouse overslept. This kind of situation didn't even exist. Lin Yuantu said, His world is different from ours, we cannot disturb him, It is our Lin family's fortune to be able to help the Lin family fight. If he does not fight, we cannot force him. But. Lin Fenglei panicked. Lin Yuantu said, no buts. We can't disturb him. At this time, a disciple walked up and said, Patriarch, third elder, it's time. We are about to set off. The Neon City's competition arena was an empty area in the north of the city, a small-sized fighting arena. Every year, there would be time to enter the competition. Lin Yuantu nodded and said, all right, I understand, you can go now. And then, he looked at Lin Fenglei and said, all three, it's about time. Let's enter the arena. Lin Fenglei looked at the little courtyard door and grinded his teeth. He really wanted to shout loudly, but in the end, he endured it and sighed lightly, ah. With large strides, he walked to Lin Yuantu's side and said, Big brother, today's competition. Lin Yuantu knew what he was worried about and said, Servant, butler, there's no one from the Lin family's blood vein. I dismissed them last night. Old man, child, I will also let him leave in disguise. Right now, there are only 100 or so members of the Lin family left. He was ready. Today's competition would determine the fate of the Lin family. Lin Fenglei did not say anything else. I'll go and prepare. Lin Yuantu muttered in his heart as he looked at the gate. God bless us, I hope our Lin family can get through this. Then, Lin Yuantu also left with big strides. Within the instant's dungeon, Long Fei rushed out of the valley. After arriving at the safe area, he panted heavily as he calculated repeatedly in his mind, I've pretty much drawn it out now. I ran a few laps back and forth, I think all 100 wild beasts have gathered in the valley. In this period of time, Long Fei traveled everywhere, not sparing a single corner of the mountain. All of those red-named wild beasts were gathered by Long Fei. Now, he was just one step away. Shrek's intelligence is basically zero. If we pull their aggro, they'll charge up no matter where they go. But this was Long Fei's speculation. Would that happen in the end? Long Fei wasn't confident either. However, he did not have much time left. Even if he failed, he could not do anything about it. After half an hour, Long Fei's stamina had slightly recovered. He stood up once again, raised his sword, and stepped into the valley. As he looked at Shrek, who was gathered not too far away, Long Fei pointed his sword and said, Grandson, grandfather is here. Come and chase me. Roar. Rumble. Rumble. In almost an instant, Shrek had been angered by Long Fei, and he instantly became incomparably manic as he charged towards Long Fei in a berserk manner. TL, Shrek equals 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 Long Fei. Long Fei did not dare to stay, and immediately ran. As he ran, Long Fei was still counting down the number of shrews. If one wanted to clear this instant's dungeon, they would have to kill 100 of the berserk beasts inside. If one was missing, they would fail the quest. Thus, always, Long Fei had to ensure that he could pull the enmity of every wild beast towards him. Rumble. 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 Sand and dust filled the sky, and these berserk beasts madly pursued. Long Fei was also running with all his might, crazily running towards the top of the valley, while ridiculing, Come and chase me. You bunch of scum, come chase me. Ha ha ha. These brainless Shrek couldn't understand Long Fei's words, but they could see the mockery in Long Fei's expression, and they became even more frenzied as they charged towards him. The distance between them was getting closer and closer. At the same time, Long Fei was also getting closer and closer to the top of the valley. He panicked a little in his heart, and silently said to himself, Let's bet, whether or not it succeeds will all depend on the heavens. I've done everything I can. Huff, huff. Long Fei rushed to the top of the valley. The mountain winds howled, and rubble rolled into the abyss. The wind speed is just right. Long Fei looked at the large group of Shrek students behind him and said, Grandsons, come and bite your grandpa to death, ha ha ha. You won't be able to kill me in your lifetime. Finished. In that moment, Long Fei suddenly stepped into the abyss. There was a limit to the terrain of the King of Beasts Valley in the instant's dungeon. The two sides of the valley were surrounded by the edges of a map, and there was no way of getting to the top of the mountain. You can jump. It was also here. It was precisely the bug that Long Fei found. Of course. He was betting on a failure in this instant's dungeon. The moment Long Fei jumped into the abyss, he turned around and raised his middle finger, and laughed wildly, "Come and bite me." At this moment, he was really worried, exceptionally worried. Because, what if Shrek didn't chase after him? Then he would fail this instant's dungeon. Failure was not scary. What was scary was the fear of not daring to challenge someone. Failure was not scary. What was scary was the fear of not daring to challenge someone. Long Fei was only an idea after he entered the instant's dungeon. Like the refined space, even if he died, he would still be fine. Thus, Long Fei threw caution to the wind and jumped off the cliff, thinking in his heart, follow me, follow me." If he wanted to kill the 100 berserk beasts, with Long Fei's current cultivation, he would never be able to do so. He could only take this gamble. Roar. Rumble. When the wild beasts saw Long Fei jump into the abyss, they did not stop and also continued to jump in, one by one, like a sow jumping into water. Thump, thump. Furthermore, he did not stop and did not have any considerations. He completely didn't care about his own life. Ha ha ha. Long Fei laughed out wildly, "We won the bet." Seeing those Shrek beasts jumping down into the abyss, Long Fei knew that he had won. This was what he wanted. Mad Killer Beast. He couldn't win. But if he could make good use of this cliff, then it would be a super critical hit, and he would be able to finish off all these wild beasts in one move. Seeing the wild beasts jumping off the cliff, Long Fei became excited. "All of you will die, ha ha ha." If they fell off a cliff that was tens of thousands of meters high, would they still be able to survive? Of course. Long Fei was only an idea that had entered the instant's dungeon, but his idea in this instant's dungeon was like his real flesh, so even if he jumped in, he would still fall to his death. If he died, would the dungeon be considered complete? If these berserk beasts hadn't died before he died, then it wouldn't be considered complete. But if these wild beasts died before him, he would be deemed by the system as completing the quest and passing through the instant's dungeon. Each and every one of these wild beasts fell faster than Long Fei. The most important thing was that Long Fei had already checked the speed of the wind at the top of the mountain long ago. He could use the wind to slow down his descent. And then he would make himself die a bit slower. Long Fei spread open his arms, borrowing the wind's force to expand his body, reducing his falling speed. In front of him, wild beasts fell one after another. All of them stuck out their tongues, opened their eyes widely and stared at Long Fei. Even so, they wanted to eat Long Fei up. There was nothing they could do without gravity. He continued to fall, drop, and drop. Woo-woo. Ah. Violent beasts constantly let out all kinds of strange noises, and some of them even started to poop in fear. 2 minutes later. Bam! A head of Shrek fell into the abyss, causing a violent tremor to run through it. And then, without even letting out a scream, he was probably smashed into meat paste. Following that, bam, bam, bang, bang, bang. The bottom of the chasm exploded as if it was firecrackers. Every time a wild beast fell, they would be smashed into mincemeat. The hole in the top of their head instantly became 0, of course. Their deaths did not give Long Fei anything. Because Long Fei did not harm them. There was no system notification sound. Long Fei's heart was also tight. If one of them didn't die, then this father's jump off the cliff was truly in vain. As long as one of the ferocious beasts did not die before him, he would fail the challenge. Once the instant's dungeon was closed, Long Fei would not have a chance to challenge it again. This was the only chance he had. He had to succeed no matter what. Bam! Rumble! Bam! Rumble! When they arrived at the bottom of the abyss, there was basically no wind. Long Fei's falling speed also increased, and the feeling of being able to descend so freely and quickly felt as if his heart was about to jump out. Ah! Long Fei also roared. Seeing that he was about to have a friendly exchange with the earth, Long Fei was also unable to control himself. At this moment, ah! Ah! Screams. Long Fei's heart tensed up, Fuck, there really is someone who is lucky enough to not fall so high. Isn't this a scam? It was the wild beast's scream, which meant that it was still alive. If it didn't die, then the instant's dungeon would fail. Long Fei was secretly anxious in his heart. No, your father's perfect challenge can't be because you failed. Your father will definitely not allow this to happen. Awoo! Awoo! The wild beast cried out in pain. There was only a little bit of blood left on its head. With just a simple move, it could have killed him. Under these circumstances, Long Fei once again risked his life, taking out his sword, not caring if he could still resist it. Even if we have to die together, I will still kill you. During the violent fall, Long Fei held onto his sword tightly. His body was like a cannonball, falling towards the berserk beast. Ah! Let's die together. Long Fei's power couldn't break Shrek's defense. However, such a high falling speed increased his strength. A sword pierced through the head. Crack! The wild beast let out a roar, and the blood above its head began to gush out. At this moment, with the sword held tightly in his hands, Long Fei instantly threw himself out. The speed of his descent was too fast, his two hands could not even withstand it. It was directly shattered and sent flying. His body also sank in and heavily crashed on the ground. I'm going to die. I'm going to die. Ah! Long Fei roared. Although he knew that he would not die, this situation was too realistic, as though he was going to die. Just when his body was still a centimeter away from the ground, the system suddenly sounded out, and at that moment, time froze. Ding! System notification. Congratulations to player Long Fei for successfully challenging the Berserk Beast Instance Dungeon. Ha ha ha. I am a genius. Long Fei laughed out wildly. This system beep was too wonderful, she did not want that feeling. As soon as the notification sound rang out, the valley vanished, the abyss vanished, and the corpses of Shrek's men also disappeared. Long Fei kept the idea. They arrived at the main hall of the refined space. Long Fei's arms had also returned. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for passing the Wild Beast Dungeon and obtaining the reward, Berserk Beast Sword Art. Do you wish to cultivate it? Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for successfully challenging and obtaining a hidden reward. Do you want to receive the Wild Beast Head? Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Currently at the second stage of Apprentice, a series of notifications rang out. It was truly a great feeling. Looking at the system reward, Long Fei moved his body, cultivate the Berserk God Sword technique. Ding! Training successful. Then looking at Wild Beast Head, Long Fei's heart shivered. It can't be that they're really trying to reward a wild beast, right? He was slightly excited in his heart. After swallowing his saliva for a bit, Long Fei moved and said, "Receive." Roar! Roar! Following Long Fei's receive, a roar sounded out in the air. A red name Shrek rushed out. Both of his eyes were staring at Long Fei with incomparable anger. Long Fei was shocked. Damn, is it really this guy with zero intelligence? System, you are also rewarded with a wild beast with a little high IQ. When Shrek understood what Long Fei was saying, his eyes burned with anger and he opened his mouth as if he wanted to swallow Long Fei whole. It was just that. Long Fei's finger moved as he pointed towards Shrek. You want to make a move on me? Do you know who's the boss now? It's lousy. I am your master, do you understand? If you move a bit, I will order you to jump into the abyss again and you will die, you bastard. Long Fei was very overbearing. Since it was a berserk beast rewarded by the system, it would be his war pet. Could his war pet still make it soar to the sky? Reverse it. When Long Fei was enraged, Shrek immediately shrank back. He rolled his body and retreated to the side, waiting for Long Fei to come out, not daring to act recklessly again. Indeed. He was now Long Fei's war pet. Long Fei's order was everything. If Long Fei let it jump off the cliff again, he would have to jump too. Seeing that Shrek had calmed down, Long Fei nodded in satisfaction. That's more like it. However, if you want to be my Long Fei's war pet, your little strength is not enough. Show me what you know. If he doesn't perform well, I think he will. Long Fei did not understand much about Shrek in the dungeon, he only knew that the guy's IQ was 0. Without waiting for Long Fei to finish speaking, Shrek immediately stepped forward and shouted, boom. The thick armor on his body suddenly flew out and quickly assembled, forming an extremely strong shield. Transformation? Long Fei muttered, what else? Roar. The armor on Shrek's body changed once more and transformed into a heavily armored weapon. Another transformation? Attack, I want to see your attack. Long Fei urged. Shrek's body recovered, and he opened his bloody mouth as he let out a roar. The scene was like a level 10 storm. That mouth was as wide as an abyss, the teeth inside were incomparably sharp, if swallowed, it would definitely be instantly killed. Gudong. Long Fei swallowed all of it and thought, damn, this is for sure. Shield can act as a tank. Heavy weapons can be used as a close-range warrior. The final move is considered to be the ultimate move. It'll be instant kill. It's kind of useful. Although I don't have a good IQ, as long as I have the command I can make up for it. Alright, you can go back to my war pet space. I'll call you when I need you. Long Fei kept the idea. Actually, Long Fei also needed a war pet. Although Shrek seemed to be a retard, he was definitely a super helper. Wild beasts are here. The level has also increased. I've also trained in the sword arts. Now. Long Fei raised his gaze. Oh no, so long has passed, the Neon City's large competition has already ended, right? Long Fei suddenly thought of his promise to Lin Yuantu. The idea moved, and immediately came out of refined space. At this moment, the sun was glaring. It was already high in the sky. Crap. After exterminating so many clans yesterday, the rest will definitely be blamed on the Lin clan. I wonder how they are doing now. Long Fei did not bother to wash up as he walked out while still wearing the clothes that were dyed in fresh blood the day before. Walking out of the courtyard, he realized that there was no one in the Lin clan. Seems like Lin Yuantu has already prepared for the worst. Long Fei frowned, then quickly rushed out of the Lin clan residence. At this moment, at the competition venue, the entire arena was in an uproar. Beat him to death! Beat him to death! Kill him! Kill him! The disciples of the Lin clan cannot let him live. The Lin clan is a devil. On the fighting stage, a disciple of the Lin clan was beaten up to the point where his entire body was covered in blood and wounds. His head was severely deformed and his entire body was trembling. He wouldn't let him fall. As long as he fell, the duel would be over. Seeing the Lin family disciple beaten to such a state, Lin Yuantu stood up and said, City Lord, I admit defeat on his behalf. If he continues to fight, he will die. Wu Fengtian smiled faintly, and said, admit defeat? Or did you represent them? Clan leader Lin, this doesn't conform to the rules, does it? If you want to admit defeat, that's fine. But if you let him say it himself, this match will be over. Of course, if Patriarch Gui agrees, then we can also end this here. Clan head Gui, do you agree to his surrender? Just as Wu Fengtian finished speaking, that opponent punched the Lin family disciple in the mouth. His front teeth fell off and he spat out a large mouthful of blood. In this state, he was already unconscious and was unable to speak. Lin Yuantu said, since people are already like this, is there any need to continue fighting? Gui Tianyi laughed coldly, and said, yesterday, your Lin family led people to slaughter so many families, why didn't you say anything? Lin Yuantu, oh Lin Yuantu, I really did not expect you to be this kind of person, your heart is even more vicious than a devil's. Do you want to annihilate the Neon City or dominate the Neon City? I'll tell you. As long as I, Gui Tianyi, am still alive, you, Lin Yuantu, will never be able to accomplish it. Gui Feng, hit him until he dies. Ha ha ha. Gui Tianyi laughed wildly. The surrounding people roared even louder. Kill him, beat him to death. Kill him. Kill the entire Lin family. This was not just one disciple being beaten to such a state, there were several that had been beaten to a state of crippled, half of their bodies paralyzed, and the pubes had been shattered. Those with broken arms or legs were still considered light. Just as Lin Yuantu had expected, all the families of Neon City banded together to deal with the Lin family. Today, it was likely that the Lin clan would be doomed. Lin Fenglei said with a heavy voice, "Big bro, since that's the case, why not fight with them?" He couldn't bear to watch any longer. Lin Yuantu shook his head. "No, Shuang'er is still in their hands, we cannot do anything." Lin Fenglei said, "Then what do we do? Let them fight like this." Lin Yuantu's heart tightened, as he silently hoped in his heart, "Long Fei, did you really leave? If you haven't left, then hurry up and show up. Hurry up." Long Fei was his only hope now. However, Lin Yuantu looked at the entrance no less than 100 times, but he could not see Long Fei. Bam! The Lin clan disciple on the stage was thrown off the fighting stage with a punch and crashed heavily onto the ground. Black blood kept flowing out of his mouth and his body spasmed a few times before losing all signs of life. The stands erupted into applause. "Good kill. Kill the Lin clan dog." Lin Yuantu's eyes tensed up. It was not the Neon City's family that wanted them dead, the entire Neon City would only wish for their Lin family to die. Everyone was pushing the wall, and now that everyone in the Lin clan had been beaten up, everyone wanted to step on them to highlight themselves. Everyone was pushing the wall, and now that everyone in the Lin clan had been beaten up, everyone wanted to step on them to highlight themselves. Lin Yuantu looked at the entire arena, his heart sinking even deeper. This was because anyone who was incapable of suppressing the Lin clan would want to step on their Lin clan. The competition had just begun, and there were still many disciples coming up. All of the families were going up against the Lin family. If this went on, all of the Lin family's disciples who went up on stage would die on the stage. As the patriarch, Lin Yuantu's first concern was how the Lin family would continue to exist. Immediately, Lin Yuantu stood up and said, "City Lord, my Lin family has withdrawn from this competition." Suddenly, a sound was heard. The audience slowly quieted down. Exit. Withdraw from the competition. Exiting means taking out all of the Lin family's territory. This way, he can still stand and shout in the Neon City. Without territory, there is no economy. A family without financial resources will quickly wither away. Humph. We can't let him go like this. The surroundings were filled with discussions. The expressions of the Lin clan disciples and elders also darkened. Many of them let out long sighs, because this was an action of helplessness. Lin Fenglei said, "Big brother, do you want to?" Lin Yuantu said, "I have decided, as long as I can protect the Lin family's fire, withdraw from the competition, leave Neon City, find a place to start again, at that time, I will also resign as patriarch." His eyes were firm. The Lin family had been in the Neon City for generations, and leaving meant abandoning their ancestors. He was the one who didn't want to leave at all. But for the sake of the Lin clan, he had no other choice. He could work even harder now that he had lost his territory. But if there was no one left, then there was nothing left. If Long Fei did not appear, Lin Yuantu could only do this. Wu Fengtian was startled. Withdraw from the competition? He did not expect Lin Yuantu to suddenly use this move. The other clan leaders were startled as well. None of them took the lead. The Lin family was the second largest family other than the Gui's family. They owned a mine, then a mine. It was like a gold mine. Everyone wants it. At this time, Lin Yuantu continued, "My Lin family will withdraw from the competition and give up all the assets of the Lin family. Furthermore, we will leave the Neon City in 3 days, and will never step foot into the Neon City again for the rest of our lives. I, Lin Yuantu, will keep my promise, but I hope you can let my daughter Lin Shuang'er go." While talking, Lin Yuantu looked at Gui Tianyi. Gui Taibao, who was standing next to Gui Tianyi, was startled, and asked, "Father, what happened to little sister Shuang'er?" Gui Tianyi shook his head, "I don't know." Gui Taibao did not believe that there was still something in the Neon City that his father did not know. "Father, did you capture Shuang'er?" Gui Tianyi replied, "No." Gui Taibao said, "If it wasn't you, then who would it be?" Gui Tianyi glared at him, anger evident in his eyes. Gui Taibao immediately lowered his head and said, "Father, I am just a little concerned about little sister Shuang's safety." Gui Tianyi said harshly, "You useless trash, a woman is already enough to make you act like this. How are you going to enter the sect in the future? What if the Gui's family becomes stronger?" Gui Taibao lowered his head and said, "Father, I was wrong. I shouldn't have doubted you. But just who caught Shuang?" Gui Taibao asked in a low voice. Gui Taibao shook his head and said, "Black Wolf Mercenary is going to chase after him, but only the Wolf King is left. Yesterday, the Wolf King also died. No one knows if he caught Lin Shuang or not. If he does catch her, then..." Gui Taibao looked at Wu Fengtian. His heart quivered, and in that instant, he said, "It shouldn't be, it's impossible for the senior brother to do such a thing, it's not beneficial for him at all." When Wu Fengtian saw Gui Taibao looking at him, he said in a bland voice, "Clan leader Lin, whether or not you withdraw from Neon City is not up to me alone. If you want all the clan leaders to agree, you also need the people of Neon City to agree. And your Lin family had killed so many people yesterday, yet you left like this." As he said it, the surrounding people were in an uproar again. "That's right. We can't let him get away with this. Letting them go now is letting the tiger return to the mountain. We can't agree to that. Blood must be repaid in blood." "You're right." It caused another commotion. The crowd roared loudly. Wu Fengtian's mouth revealed a cold smile, and then he said, "Regarding the matter of your daughter's disappearance, I really do not know about that. Your daughter is engaged to Gui's family. You should ask him about this." Hearing this, Gui Tianyi's heart tightened. He felt that something was amiss, and immediately said, "Lin Shuang is indeed engaged to my son, but she disappeared without a connection to my Gui's family." Wu Fengtian said, "Clan leader Lin, you heard it." Lin Yuantu's gaze tensed up, and he said to Lin Fenglei in a low voice, "Looks like we won't be able to leave today, get the brothers to prepare." Lin Fenglei said, "Big brother, you want?" Lin Yuantu said, "These fellows will definitely not hand over Shuang, I must." "Shuang's mother, I'm sorry." "Shuang, I'm sorry." Lin Yuantu secretly thought, then looked at Wu Fengtian and asked, "How do I get my Lin family members to leave Neon City?" Wu Fengtian said, "It's not that I don't want to, it's that everyone does not want to. And there is no such rule in the competition. Clan leader Lin, if you want to leave this place safely, you should know what you have to do. What is there to be afraid of in this world? I am afraid that if I am not strong enough, the powerhouse will have everything, understand? As for your daughter, I believe that once your Lin family has achieved a good result, there will naturally be people who will be unable to hold it in." Wu Fengtian did not want Lin Yuantu to mess up his plans. The competition had to continue. Lin Fenglei grabbed Lin Yuantu's hand and said, "Big brother, we still have a chance. As long as we can take first place, we will definitely still have a chance. Clan leader, we do not wish to leave Neon City. Patriarch, let's fight it out once more." "That's right. Patriarch." Many disciples of the Lin family looked at him. Lin Yuantu clenched his fists tightly, his heart aching because of these few years, there were no disciples that the Lin clan could afford to take on at all. If all the families joined together to deal with the Lin family, he would have no chance of winning at all. The last one will die. However, looking at the disciples of the Lin family, Lin Yuantu did not know what to say. At this moment, the judge shouted, "Next match, Lin family versus Gui's family, both sides, please send out your disciples." As soon as he finished, Lin Yuantu's gaze tensed up, looking at them, he did not know who to send out. At this moment, the Gui's family disciple was already standing on the fighting stage, laughing mockingly, "You trash of the Lin family, come out and die. Trash from the Lin clan, come out and die. Trash from the Lin clan, come out and die. Ha ha ha." Laughing maniacally, he stared at the Lin clan disciples with a disdainful expression, as though he was going to wipe their necks. Extremely arrogant. "It's Gui Qi. He's the second strongest person among the young generation of Gui's family at the big swordsman realm. Ha ha ha." The young disciples of the Lin family have yet to step into the big swordsman, and now, the disciples of the Lin family are going to die on the stage again. Gui Chi is the #1 madman in the Neon City. He's the fiercest one. Those who fought him will be crippled even if he doesn't die. The members of the Lin clan should be tortured by such a person. Seeing Gui Chi making his appearance, the Lin family's anger was immediately extinguished. Second stage of Big Swordsman. The young people of the Lin family didn't even have a big swordsman. How could they be a match for him? Going up was death. There was no room for a backhand. Lin Yuantu's expression darkened, his fists clenched under his sleeves. If possible, he truly wanted to go up on stage himself, because regardless of which disciple he sent out, they would all be sending themselves to their death. He valued every single disciple of the Lin clan highly, so who would he send to battle? The back of his hand was full of flesh. No matter who he lost, Lin Yuantu would not be willing to part with it. Moreover, his opponent was still Gui Chi, and even if he died, he would die in an incomparably miserable manner. Lin Fenglei said, "Big brother, I'll go." Lin Yuantu glanced at him. "If we could participate in the battle, I would have gone down long ago." The annual competition was only for the younger generation. The older generation were unable to participate. "Come out. Trash from the Lin family. Hurry up and come out. All of you scum, are you afraid of becoming dogs? Don't worry, I'll deal with you all with just one finger." Gui Chi clamored. He was extremely arrogant, and his cultivation at the big swordsman realm was enough for him to be arrogant. The spectators were hissing at the Lin family as well. The Lin clan disciples could not even raise their heads. Hearing Gui Chi's mocking words, they felt extremely uncomfortable in their hearts. Wu Fengtian said in a bland voice, "Clan leader Lin, you should have sent your disciple to accept the challenge." Lin Yuantu looked at the Lin family disciples and asked, "Which one of you is willing to fight?" To go was to die. None of the Lin family disciples were Gui Chi's match. The Lin clan disciples remained silent. Gui Chi clamored even more, and said, "Trash, hurry up and come out to die, don't waste Lao's time. If it really isn't possible, then all of you should come at me together. I will fight all of you by myself." Ha ha ha. Arrogant to this extent. Too arrogant. Lin Yuantu's face also became extremely ugly. The Lin family had never been provoked like this before, but they had never. So what? Gui Tianyi also sneered, "Lin Yuantu, are you pretending to be deaf? Hurry up and send our disciples to accept the challenge, don't waste our time. If you can't even send out your disciples, you can just kowtow to Gui Chi and admit defeat. I believe he will spare your lives." Ah, ha, ha. Gui Tianyi also laughed out loud. Finally, everyone in the arena was laughing. Gui Chi said, "My patriarch has spoken, as long as you kneel down and kowtow, I will forgive your Lin family's trash this time." Lin Yuantu, kneel down. Ha ha ha. Gui Chi could not control himself. Lin Fenglei was so angry that his face flushed red. How preposterous. "Big brother, I will go." Lin Yuantu clenched his fists. It was at this time. A soft voice sounded from not far away, "I'll go." The voice sounded familiar. Lin Yuantu's eyes turned cold. Lin Fenglei's eyes released a gold light, and in an instant, he became extremely excited. Ha ha ha. "Brat, you're finally here." Lin Yuantu's gaze tensed up, his heart was also boiling, but he did not reveal it, and said, "Gui Chi's cultivation is very strong, can you do it?" After all, Long Fei was still at the second stage of apprentice. According to the levels, there was a difference of dozens of levels between the two. It was impossible to defeat him in the game. However, Long Fei was just a bug. Long Fei said indifferently, "Can you send others out?" Lin Yuantu was a little embarrassed. Long Fei laughed, "Uncle Lin, don't worry, I'm fine." Lin Fenglei said, "I believe him." He had personally witnessed the scene of Long Fei killing one big swordsman after another, and Lin Fenglei would never forget that scene for the rest of his life. Lin Yuantu did not speak further, and said, "Be careful in every way." Long Fei's appearance did not cause much of a commotion, because many people did not know of Long Fei's existence. As for what happened yesterday, Not many knew that Long Fei was the one who did it. It's him. Gui Taibao bellowed, her eyes staring straight at Long Fei, her anger exploding out. You dog, he actually dares to appear here. Today I will take my revenge. Gui Tianyi asked, which one of you is he? Gui Taibao said, that's him, but right now, his steps are like a dead dog in front of me. My sword technique can easily kill him. Gui Tianyi stood up and said to Wu Fengtian, City Lord, he is not a disciple of the Lin family, he cannot represent the Lin family and fight on their behalf. Oh! Wu Fengtian uttered softly, looked at Lin Yuantu and said, Clan leader Lin, if he is not a disciple of the Lin family, then he does not have the qualifications to participate. Lin Fenglei said heavily, he is indeed not a disciple of the Lin family, but he is the son-in-law of the Lin family. With this identity, he should be able to represent the Lin family, right? Wu Fengtian said, if it's a son-in-law, then that's fine, but he is married to that young mistress of the Lin clan? Lin Fenglei said, of course it's our young Miss Lin Shuang'er. Gui Tianyi's eyes became angry, and he said, do you take us to be fools? Lin Shuang'er obviously has an engagement with my Gui's family first. Lin Yuantu said in a very confident manner, you are right, there is indeed an engagement between you and your Gui's family, but after today, it will have nothing to do with your Gui's family at all. As long as the Lin clan won, the marriage contract would be cancelled. Gui Tianyi said solemnly, Lin Yuantu, you dare humiliate my Gui's family? All right. I will definitely make you pay. Gui Tianyi's anger surged, and he said to Gui Qi, who was on the stage with a heavy voice, turn his head off for me. Gui Qi smiled lightly and said, no problem. Looking at Long Fei walking up the stage, he laughed disdainfully, a waste with apprentice cultivation dares to come up? I can kill scum like you with my bare hands. Long Fei walked onto the stage without even glancing at Gui Qi, and instead said with a cold voice, everyone here, listen carefully. Whoever captures Lin Shuang'er and the other little girl, hand them over to me obediently. Otherwise, I will kill everyone here. With a cold sound, he was extremely arrogant. Wu Fengtian's gaze tightened, he knew who Long Fei was. Gui Qi shouted, only trash like you dares to kill people, watch how I die. Before he could finish his sentence, a step was taken. Long Fei moved his sword, berserk beast sword art. Buzz. Her figure flashed and landed behind Gui Qi. Gui Qi stood where he was, staring at the scene with anger, blood dripping down his neck. In the next second, clang. The head fell off. Arrogant. Arrogant. Stirring. Ridicule. I'm sorry, but I killed him in a second. It was so much so that Long Fei did not even look at Gui Qi. He just wielded the berserk beast sword technique and cut off the throat. It was so crazy that Long Fei himself was shocked. Damn, isn't this berserk beast sword technique a little overbearing? One must know that he did not use the power of ancient dragon body just now, and only relied on his own strength. How much was his cultivation? Second stage apprentice. It was impossible for someone with this cultivation to defeat someone who was several tens of levels higher than him. Or a super divine treasure. Or it could be an extremely powerful cultivation technique, an instant kill cultivation technique. From this, it could be seen how fierce the berserk beast sword technique was. I knew it. The reward for the instance dungeon set up by the system must not be simple. I didn't expect the first instance dungeon to reward such a powerful sword technique. Ha ha ha. Long Fei was excited. It was too unexpected. When that kind of sword strike came out, he was like a mad beast. The power of the sword was out, causing him to feel like he didn't need to do anything. All he needed to do was to slash down. When Gui Qi's head landed on the ground, the surrounding audience members, the disciples of the family, as well as Gui Taibao and the others were all dumbstruck. Completely stupefied. What happened? What just happened? It's too fast, I simply didn't see it clearly. How did Gui Qi die? How could he die? Furthermore, it was a head that fell to the ground. This was the result of being directly sliced apart by a sharp force. It's impossible. What is the power level of the apprentice? It is impossible to defeat Gui Qi, who is at the big swordsman realm, and even more impossible to instantly kill him. Is this kid a human or a ghost? Isn't this Gui Chi too trash? Is he really Gui Chi? The crowd slowly began to discuss in a quiet voice. Lin Fenglei's eyes shone with excitement as he said, "Ha ha ha. He got stronger. Gui Chi was actually killed instantly. Big brother, did you see that sword attack just now?" Lin Yuantu's pupils also contracted. He was incomparably excited as he shook his head slightly. "No, I didn't see it clearly." Lin Fenglei said, "This brat. Awesome." Lin Yuantu said, "All three, in the future, you have to be more careful when calling him. He is not an ordinary person. I feel that he is not someone from our world." Lin Fenglei was startled. He looked to the sky and said, "Big brother, you're saying that he came from the divine space, ancient world. One plane, two levels. One was an ordinary mortal. The other one was the aboriginals of the ancient world, the most ancient group of people." Lin Yuantu nodded his head and said, "If that's not the case, then how does he kill Gui Chi, who is in the big swordsman realm? How can we exterminate so many families?" Lin Fenglei came to a realization and said, "That's right, why didn't I think of that? Must definitely be from the divine space. This time. Hehe, let's see how Gui Tianyi is going to deal with this situation. Is he trying to mess with my Lin family? Now let's see what you can do." Gui Tianyi's eyes darkened, he stared coldly at Long Fei, who was on the fighting stage, and said, "So this is the person you said had no fighting strength, and only knew a few steps?" Gui Taibao looked at Long Fei strangely, as if he couldn't understand him at all. "But he was the one who only knew how to walk." Gui Tianyi said again, "You and him have met, how much certainty do you have?" Gui Taibao muttered, 60 points, right? Are you 60% sure?" Gui Tianyi's gaze tensed up. Gui Taibao silently swallowed his saliva and said, 5 points, I will definitely not be worse than him. Gui Tianyi let out a heavy exhale. He did not have much confidence towards Gui Taibao in his heart, because he did not clearly see how Long Fei executed that sword strike. Many people didn't see it clearly. However, Wu Fengtian saw it clearly. He was one of the very few people present who knew that Long Fei had exterminated over a dozen clans, so after Long Fei came onto the stage, his eyes never left Long Fei. A sword, strike with your sword. There aren't any gaps. It can be said to be one with the sword. No. Using the word one with the sword is not enough to describe him. The sword technique just now was too strong. It was like a ferocious beast pressing down from the top. What a strong sword art. Wu Fengtian's heart secretly tensed up. At the same time, his eyes narrowed slightly. A roadblock suddenly appeared. However, the corner of Wu Fengtian's mouth slightly curled up as he gave a cold smile. "Don't say that you're a roadblock, even if you're a dragon, you still have to lie on the ground for me today." He would not allow anyone to disrupt his plans. Absolutely not. On the fighting stage, Long Fei did not leave. Looking at the people around him who were whispering to each other, he said with a heavy voice, "Listen to me carefully. Hand over Lin Shuang'er and that little girl, or I will kill all of you." It was that direct. If one were to say that they thought Long Fei was joking around, then at this point in time, no one believed that Long Fei was joking around. The stands quieted down. Many of these people were unhappy. At this moment, Wu Fengtian abruptly stood up and said, "Brat, you're too arrogant. Yesterday, you massacred 14 families and killed 1,867 people. You dare to be so arrogant today. Do you really think that there's no one in my Neon City?" As soon as he finished, Lin Yuantu's gaze tensed up. Crap. Now Long Fei is out in the open. Lin Fenglei also frowned and said, "Big brother, what should we do now?" Lin Yuantu did not speak. There was nothing he could do. In this kind of situation, it was very possible that the entire Neon City would join forces to deal with Long Fei. What were they going to do? Gui Tianyi's expression changed. Was it him who exterminated 14 families? He's the homicidal maniac. In an instant, the stands were also in an uproar. It's him. Is it this kid? After killing so many people, he shouldn't even think about leaving today. Don't let him leave here alive. Pay with blood, kill him, Kill him! Kill him! Kill him! Everyone shouted in unison, their voices resonating. In an instant, everyone in the entire competition arena was shouting in unison, kill him. Long Fei stood on the fighting stage without the slightest fear, coldly laughed, and said, "You want to kill me? Sure. Who the hell came down first?" He pointed his sword and slowly moved it. His expression was extremely arrogant as he shouted, "Who is it? Who the hell is the first to come down and die? Come on, get down here right now." You like to shout. As long as they could find the phoenix, what was the point in fighting the people of the city? In the dream, the phoenix had defended him from the attack of the Emperor Xian and fallen for him. Although it was only a dream, Long Fei felt that it was a memory from the past. Thus, for the sake of the phoenix, he would become enemies with the entire world. If killing one person was not enough, then he would kill 10,000 people, annihilate 100 million, and even destroy ancient world. The dream from last night had made Long Fei feel very uncomfortable. The dream from last night had made Long Fei feel very uncomfortable. His heart felt like it was being pressed down by a huge stone. Before the phoenix could be found, his mind was heavily crushed by the boulder in his heart. If you can die for me, then I can become enemies with the entire world, be arrogant for you, be proud for you, be happy for you. Long Fei's arrogant and tyrannical voice echoed in the competition grounds. His voice was completely crushed by the voices of thousands of people. Who dares to come out? Who would dare? Come out and fight. Long Fei's sword swept out, whoever comes will die. If you don't hand them over, none of you will survive. It was as if he had fallen into madness. Lin Yuantu frowned deeply. Long Fei was not someone he could control, and under the current situation, he was most likely going to become the enemy of the entire Neon City. Although Lin Fenglei was worried, his face was full of excitement. How arrogant, how overbearing, ha ha ha. This is the true name of the iron-blooded man. Kid, I really admire you. Lin Fenglei really wanted to rush down and fight with Long Fei. Wu Fengtian secretly sneered, "It's obviously something on your head, just a casual provocation would cause you to lose all sense of reason, ha ha ha." And then, Wu Fengtian said lightly, "Patriarchs, what do you think?" Gui Tianyi said straightforwardly, "Killing so many people, Neon City cannot let this kind of people go unpunished. I mean, everyone should join hands and kill together." The family patriarch of the Liu family said, "I agree too. I agree. I agree. If this brat doesn't die, then what about our Neon City people? We can't let him leave here alive." In an instant, the several great clans had joined hands. Wu Fengtian said, "We must kill him, but today is also the Neon City's martial arts competition, so we can't not continue. Clan leaders, what do you think about this? Whoever can kill him will be the champion of this year's martial competition." Because Long Fei was no longer able to continue with the competition, but Wu Fengtian changed it a little. As long as it did not hinder his son from being in the limelight, he could win first place in the tournament. When everyone heard this, they immediately agreed, "City Lord, you have to consider the best. The competition and the slaughter of the devils will be combined together without delay." "Good idea, I agree." Gui Tianyi didn't know why Wu Fengtian would do such a thing. He had a bad premonition in his heart, and furthermore, more than half of the Neon City's family had been slaughtered by Long Fei, so the remaining families would definitely not capture Lin Yuantu's daughter. The Gui's family was the biggest suspect. However, Gui Tianyi did not capture Lin Shuang'er at all, which was also the last possibility. If Lin Shuang'er was really caught, then it must be in the hands of the city lord, Wu Fengtian. Gui Tianyi's eyes tensed up. Wu Fengtian looked at Gui Tianyi and said, "Brother Gui, what do you think?" Gui Taibao first said, "Father, you are way too thoughtful. When the time comes, I will definitely bring that piece of trash's head with me." Wu Fengtian smiled slightly and said, "So that means Gui's family agrees as well?" Gui Tianyi replied, "Agreed." Everyone agreed that he was not equally certain. Wu Fengtian nodded his head and said, "As the city lord, originally, my Wu clan would not participate in the competition, but other than today's competition, there is also the demon-slaying assembly, so as the city lord, I cannot ignore it. One dragon. Wu Yilong walked out. Your son is here. Wu Fengtian said, come out. Wu Yilong walked out, and hugged both of his fists, and said, my name is Wu Yilong, I will represent the Wu family. His appearance was praised by many people. It was also at this time. Wu Fengtian stood up, bowed respectfully, and said, Elder Yang, this is my son. In the VIP seats not too far away, an elder nodded his head to indicate that he understood. Why was he suddenly so respectful? Many people did not know who that elder Yang was. Right now, their gazes were all on Wu Yilong's side. It's good that the city lord is here. What is Wu Yilong's cultivation level? Why am I unable to see through it? What is rare is that you are also in the big swordsman realm. With the city lord's support, we can definitely split this kid into 8 pieces today. Everyone was discussing and praising Wu Yilong. Except Gui Tianyi. Others might not know who he was, but Gui Tianyi knew him very well. Of the ancient antiquity. An elder who was responsible for accepting disciples. Now, Gui Tianyi finally understood everything. There was not the slightest expression on his face, but his heart sank as he said, Wu Yilong. Good one, Wu Fengtian. I didn't expect you to do this. You arranged all this, didn't you? He now knew why Wu Fengtian had constantly approached the Gui's family during this past year, and even took Gui Taibao as his godson. This guy had always been scheming against the Gui's family. Wu Fengtian was an old cunning fox, so was Gui Tianyi. Wu Fengtian pushed her son out at this time, definitely not because he wanted to inherit the position of city lord, but because of the position of the ancient antiquities outer sect disciple. Which also means it's the spot on his son Gui Taibao. Gui Taibao's eyes lit up as he said, Brother Yi Long, you're going to fight too? Ha ha ha. When the time comes, we'll work together and trample this trash under our feet. Gui Taibao didn't think too much about it. Wu Yilong smiled at Gui Taibao. Gui Taibao continued to talk non-stop. Father, look, it's Brother Yilong. I didn't expect Brother Yilong to actually come back. His face was filled with excitement, as though he had just met his father. Gui Tianyi looked at his brainless son and wished for a slap, and said indifferently, disappeared for a year, suddenly appearing, what is his cultivation realm? The Imperial Guard. Gui Taibao said, Father, do you have any instructions? Gui Tianyi looked at Long Fei who was on the fighting stage, and made a plan in his heart, this kid is definitely not worthy of these families, moreover, Wu Fengtian will definitely arrange for a high number of contestants to fight in order to obtain my Gui's family's spots. This way, Gui's family will only have one goal, Wu Yilong. Come here. Gui Tianyi uttered softly. Gui Taibao walked over to his father's side. Gui Tianyi whispered a few sentences into Gui Taibao's ear. The expression in Gui Taibao's eyes changed, but it immediately became ridiculing again, and then he laughed complacently. Father, don't worry, 1 year ago I was able to win against him, 1 year later I will still be able to win against him. Humph. You still want to get a place in the ancient antiquity? Dream on. Gui Taibao was very arrogant. It was also at this time. Wu Fengtian stared at Long Fei who was in the arena and said with a heavy tone, Kid, you have killed so many people, today I will take your dog life. Where are the disciples of the various big families? Many hot-blooded young disciples stood up and shouted, Here. Wu Fengtian pointed at Long Fei who was standing in the center of the arena and said, Kill him. Boom. Dozens of disciples rushed to the fighting stage. Swish, swish, swish. Swish, swish, swish. They all flew onto the fighting stage, took out their weapons and pointed at Long Fei. Long Fei swept his eyes across them and said indifferently, Do you want to duel or fight in a group? A young disciple glared at him, I alone am enough to deal with a waste like you, who is at apprentice. As soon as he finished, with his full strength, he attacked with his sword. He wanted to take advantage of Long Fei's surprise and kill him. As long as he killed Long Fei, he would be first in this year's martial competition. Normally, he knew that he wouldn't have the chance in a match, but now, he had a chance. Spirit Dragon returning to the sea. He extended his sword out, and a strand of spirit chi wrapped itself around the sword, like a spirit serpent piercing towards Long Fei. Long Fei smirked. Trash? Boom. With a step, he brandished his long sword, Berserk Beast. Kill. With a slash of the sword, the spirit dragon was severed and a head fell to the ground. Fresh blood gushed out and splashed across half of the arena. Long Fei looked at the head on the ground and stepped on it. Who is the trash? Unrivaled, domineering. His aura was filled with boundless arrogance. The people on the fighting stage were slightly startled, many of them taking half a step back. They looked at each other, and then, shua, shua, shua. Numerous figures moved and rushed towards Long Fei. They were all disciples of the same family, and their coordination was extremely good. Furthermore, the sword techniques they used were also a type of sword formation. Skylight, earth thrust, kill. In a moment, two swords struck out, directly sealing Long Fei's path. Long Fei was not afraid. He continuously blocked with the long sword in his hand, and slowly moved back. At the same time, two other people attacked from behind. Attack your heart and your heels. Long Fei was so fast that even the walk like a snake could not support him as he continuously moved and retreated. Their teamwork was just too perfect. For a moment, Long Fei felt a sense of danger. Seeing Long Fei continuously retreat and dodge, the four of them started to feel proud. Kid, today I will take your dog life. It's possible for you to be a bit more powerful in a one-on-one fight, but in front of the alliance of our senior brother disciples, you are just a piece of trash. Trash. Give me your life. The four of them released their powers at the same time, releasing even more powerful attacks towards Long Fei. In the stands. Ha ha ha. This is the Liu family's four directions sword formation. It is a waste against a waste who is only at apprentice. However, killing this demon dweller is my responsibility. The family patriarch of the Liu family stroked his beard and smiled. Long Fei could not hold on any longer and was about to die. Once Long Fei died, the Liu family would take first place. At that time, they would annex the Lin family's territory and become the biggest family in Neon City. Thinking of that, the family patriarch of the Liu family burst out laughing. Wu Yilong looked at his father, his eyes tensed up. He was worried that if Long Fei was killed by the four brothers of the Liu family, then his efforts today would be in vain. Wu Fengtian's gaze tensed up, he was also worried. However, an old man beside him said softly, "Don't worry, this kid is even stronger than I thought." Boom. Long Fei suddenly jumped out of the encirclement. The four of them looked at each other, then rushed towards Long Fei once again. Long Fei smiled faintly. For symbols formation, elephant is not an elephant, dog is not a dog, and in my opinion, it's a David's deer. How preposterous. Kid, die. Trash, how could someone like you comment on the four symbols sword formation? Don't run, come break our sword formation. The four of them exerted their strength, their eyes burning with rage. Long Fei raised the sword in his hand, his breathing was stable, in an instant, his eyes exploded with beast light, Berserk Beast sword technique. Buzz. Roar. His aura buzzed, followed by a roar from his long sword. He felt that his sword was not a sword, but a crazed beast. A berserk violent bear. Break for me. The sword chopped down. To be exact, violent bear's fists exploded, smashing down heavily towards the four of them. Rumble. With an explosive sound, the four of them simultaneously flew out of the arena. A crack appeared in the center of the fighting stage. It must be known that this fighting stage was made of a special kind of stone, and it cracked just like that. Bang, bang, bang bang. For falling sounds could be heard. Blood spurted out wildly from his mouth. His body twitched a few times before collapsing on the ground without any signs of life. Ding, ding. The system beep continuously rang out, but had been ignored by Long Fei. This low-level monster had nothing to explode with. Long Fei did not even look at the four of them, but looked at them and said, "Continue." The violent bear's attack just now was too fierce, and the spectators were once again stunned into silence. They stared at Long Fei in shock. Is this the power of the apprentice? He was completely stunned. The people on the fighting stage were also the same. Their hearts were filled with fear. They were all retreating slightly. Wu Fengtian's eyes tensed up, and he looked at the old man beside him. The old man's eyes flashed as he turned his sleeves to cover his face. 2 seconds later, sure, he waved his sleeve, revealing the face of a young man who appeared to be around 20 years old. Then, with one step, he flew from the stands towards the arena. Wu Fengtian looked at Wu Yilong and said, "Yilong, you can go on stage now." Wu Yilong also stepped on the spot and flew out. Seeing that, Gui Tianyi smiled, and said to Gui Taibao, "You can also come out now, remember what I said to you just now." Gui Taibao nodded, and said, "Father, I will remember, you can rest assured." Gui Tianyi said, "You have to be careful yourself." Gui Taibao was his only son, and his only hope. He had already obtained the ancient antiquities outer disciple spot, which was exceptionally precious to Gui Tianyi. The ancient antiquity was just a springboard. As long as he could survive in ancient antiquity, he might be able to charge into there in the future. Gui Taibao walked out with large strides. Behind him followed a few elites of the Gui's family, all of whom were in the big swordsman realm. Lin Fenglei said, "Big brother, this old fox Wu Fengtian and Gui Tianyi is going to fight." Long Fei, Lin Yuantu also saw it clearly. However, there was nothing he could do at this time. If he brought some people to help Long Fei, if he lost, then it would be impossible for his Lin family to leave the Neon City even if they wanted to. He was the head of the Lin clan, and he had to consider the Lin clan. If he was alone, he would not hesitate to fight alongside Long Fei. Buzz. A buzz resounded from the fighting stage as the Wu clan disciple landed on it. The man who changed his expression laughed sinisterly. "Brat, you do have some skills, but it's time to end you." As soon as his voice faded, the figure disappeared. Long Fei's pupils tightened. Bam! A palm shot out like lightning, heavily smashing onto Long Fei's chest. Phut! Long Fei immediately spat out a mouthful of blood, and his entire body staggered backwards. Heh. Having succeeded with his palm, he didn't continue to pursue and take advantage of the victory. Instead, he let out a cold laugh. Strangely enough, there was no expression on his face. It was like a numb face. Long Fei stood still, and the corners of his eyes slightly sank. In his heart, he thought, what a fast speed. He didn't get a good look at the palm strike just now. He didn't even have the time to sense it. One could tell how fast he was. This is definitely not the cultivation of a big swordsman, it is definitely stronger than big swordsman. Long Fei's heart trembled, and he let out a light breath. The man looked at Long Fei and said, "You can't even take a single blow." Long Fei glared. "Come again." The man sneered and said, "You like looking for trouble, right? Then I'll help you." Buzz. His figure disappeared once again. Long Fei's eyes were tightly locked. "I can't see it clearly." He couldn't see it clearly. It's too fast. Bam! Without waiting for him to react, he struck his abdomen again, causing Long Fei's eyes to darken. He wanted to retreat, but he was simply unable to do so. Boom! Phut! He spat out another mouthful of blood, and his face turned pale. The man still did not pursue him. With a pleased sneer, he said, "Trash." Long Fei was unable to withstand 2 consecutive moves, and could not even see his speed clearly. He did not know how to defend against them. In these 2 attacks, Long Fei's health point was only left with a third of his original strength. With another palm strike, his health point would most likely reach the bottom. Motherf asterisk ka. Long Fei cursed as he clenched his fists tightly. The man smiled and said, "You're angry? Ha ha ha. You have to admit it when I say you're trash, understand? A trash like you isn't even qualified to die in my hands, ha ha ha." The man laughed coldly, and looked at Wu Yilong. Wu Yilong understood, his sword moved, and he took a step forward. His speed was astonishingly fast as well. Under the sword tip, a strong power was released, locking onto Long Fei's forehead, wanting to kill him with a single slash. Gui Taibao's eyes became cold, and a cold smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. He was not in a rush to take action, but held onto his sword with one hand, like a hunting leopard. Wu Yilong shouted, "Go to hell!" A crushing blow. Wu Fengtian laughed in satisfaction. After injuring Long Fei in 2 moves, Long Fei would no longer be able to resist. If his son attacked again, his son would become the final winner. He was overjoyed. The people around the stands also became excited. Ha ha ha. He's being arrogant. He's going to die soon. Let's see how arrogant you are then. Kill him. Kill him. Kill him. The stands rumbled once again. Long Fei's heart was also burning with rage. He had suffered heavy injuries consecutively, and was extremely unhappy. He cursed loudly, his heart turning sinister, and said secretly, "Ancient dragon body, buzz." With a loud bang, the power of the ancient dragon body gushed out of his body in an instant. In that instant, Long Fei's pupils became golden. Looking at Wu Yilong, who was in midair, he let out a heavy cry, scrammed to the side. His sword swept out. Boom. The sword chi condensed into substance and shot out like a slap. It landed on Wu Yilong's body. Bam. Wu Yilong fell to the ground as he spat out a mouthful of blood. He spat out a mouthful of blood. Wu Fengtian suddenly stood up. He saw his own son lying on the ground moaning in pain, his eyes turned sinister, and wanted to rush to Long Fei's side to kill him. Cluck, cluck, cluck. He clenched his fists and his joints cracked. The rage and killing intent in his eyes were extremely strong. Wu Fengtian stared at Long Fei sinisterly, gritting his teeth. "Brat, you hurt my son, I will definitely take your life." His gaze turned to the man who had changed his expression, expressing his dissatisfaction. It was just that. The man did not expect Long Fei to still be able to suddenly use force, and when Long Fei released his sword chi, he did not even have time to react. The stands were also stunned. All of them were speechless. Lin Fenglei said heavily, "Well done. This move is too cool." Lin Yuantu looked at Wu Yilong and said, Wu Fengtian wanted to let his son get the upper hand, but unexpectedly, he was slapped by Long Fei to the ground in 1 move. Lin Fenglei laughed, "It's a pity that he didn't die." Gui Tianyi also laughed sinisterly, "Serves you right." In the arena, the man's eyes narrowed with incomparable rage as he said, "You dog, you still dare to fight back? Let's see how I'll kill you." Boom. With a flip of his right palm, a dense power rushed towards Long Fei. The same. His speed was too fast for him to see. But the Long Fei who had released the ancient dragon body was completely different from before. His eyes became golden, and his body became the body of a dragon. The man's speed was like an ant crawling in his eyes. "Stop. Too slow. It's really too slow." Long Fei laughed coldly. Without waiting for the man's attack to fall, he took a step forward and immediately grabbed the man's collar, raising the man in front of him up into the air and smashing him heavily onto the ground. Rumble. 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 The thunderous explosion caused the entire arena to cave in and collapse. The entire arena began to shake violently. Those people who were eating melon were all stunned like idiots. They were clearly able to completely crush Long Fei just now, but now, it had completely changed. How could this be? Too unthinkable. In the pit, the man with the changed of face looked lifelessly at Long Fei. Black blood continuously flowed out from the corner of his mouth as he said, "No, no, impossible, this is impossible. You are only in the apprentice realm, you cannot kill me, you." Long Fei looked down from above, and stared coldly at the man who changed his expression. At this moment, the man with the changed face dropped his face, revealing an aged face. Looking at Long Fei's gaze, his heart couldn't help but tremble. His body felt cold, as if he had fallen into a terrifying state of consciousness. You. His voice was trembling. Long Fei chuckled, and said, "Who's the trash?" With that said, Long Fei raised his leg slightly. The elder's pupils widened as he shook his head and said, "No, no, 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 no." Bam! Long Fei stepped down, blood spraying everywhere. At the same time, Long Fei raised his eyes and with a heavy thump, he shouted, "Who else?" Rumble. The sky suddenly exploded, and muffled thunder could be heard from all directions. The aura coming from Long Fei's body completely destroyed the entire audience. The entire hall was silent. At the same time, Wu Fengtian panicked. He was very clear in his heart on how strong that old man's cultivation was. That old man was a powerhouse of the sword faction, yet he was able to kill him in one move? If he had not seen it for himself, Wu Fengtian would definitely not have believed it. This kid is a monster. However, Wu Fengtian's heart sank. This is my city, I am the king here, I will absolutely not allow anyone to disrupt my plans. Then, Wu Fengtian moved his body and directly sent a sound transmission to Long Fei. Brat, if you want that little girl Lin Shuang'er to live, then kneel down right now. Second. Wu Fengtian was already angry. Wu Fengtian was already angry. His son Wu Yilong was currently heavily injured, and in a situation like this, he was definitely not Long Fei's match. He might die on the fighting stage. He could not let this happen, definitely not. Wu Yilong was his only son, so he had to let him live. He also had to let him enter the ancient antiquity smoothly. Right now, the elders of the ancient antiquity are watching from the VIP seats. Wu Fengtian knew that he still had a chance. He still had a trump card in his hand. They were the two women that Long Fei had been looking for. Lin Shuang'er and Phoenix. As long as he grasped this trump card properly, Wu Fengtian would still be able to win with certainty. Judging from how Long Fei exterminated so many clans yesterday, the fact that Long Fei valued the two women in his hands extremely showed that the trump card in his hands was heavy. Kneel now, Wu Fengtian said heavily once again. Long Fei frowned, his gaze sweeping across the entire audience. He did not reply with a sound transmission, but instead said heavily, "Who are you? Come out here and die for lousy." Of the several thousand people present, anyone could possibly send a sound transmission to him. Moreover, this voice was very unfamiliar. He didn't have much contact with it, so he didn't know who was transmitting to him. Lin Fenglei asked, "What is he saying?" Lin Yuantu said, "Someone is sending a sound transmission to him." Lin Fenglei's gaze also swept across and asked, "Who?" Lin Yuantu replied, "I don't know. Should I answer first if it's Gui Tianyi or not?" Lin Fenglei said in a low voice, "Big brother, I'll go check on Wu Fengtian." He silently retreated. Wu Fengtian said with a sound transmission, "Little bastard, did you not hear what I said? I told you to kneel down, otherwise I would immediately break Lin Shuang'er's hand." Long Fei's eyes narrowed as he searched for the source of the sound. "Threatening this daddy?" Wu Fengtian said, "It's not a threat, but an order. We can make a deal." Wu Fengtian's tone changed. He felt that he could make good use of Long Fei. Long Fei asked, "What kind of deal?" Wu Fengtian said, "Very simple. You go ahead and kill all the people from Gui's family." Long Fei said, "And after killing them all, you can release him?" Wu Fengtian sneered and said, "Do you have the qualifications to negotiate with me? Lin Shuang'er's life might not be important, but that little girl's life. Heh. He was testing the waters. He felt that Long Fei was not concerned with Lin Shuang'er, but with the little girl. Long Fei's heart tensed up. Also at this moment, his gaze moved, locking onto the Gui's family disciples directly as he landed in front of Gui Taibao with a single step. Gui Taibao's pupils tightened as he moved his sword, transforming into a powerful sword move. With a heavy sound, he shouted, "Die!" The long sword stabbed out. A few Gui's family disciples at the side also quickly attacked. Long Fei stood in place without moving, and waited for all the disciples of the Gui's family to attack. Buzz! The aura of the ancient dragon body moved, and the long sword in Long Fei's hand swept out, Quang Long, roar. A dragon's roar resounded. The berserk beast sword technique under the power of the ancient dragon body was completely different, as though it had evolved in an instant. At first, Long Fei was holding a violent bear, but now, what he was holding was an incomparably ferocious raging dragon. Rumble. The dragon-shaped sword chi shot out from all directions. Streaks of golden light were dazzling and incomparably gorgeous. The sword smashed down. All of the Gui's family's disciples were sent flying. Long Fei swung his sword, releasing a heavy blast as the raging dragon churned. Rumble. All of them smashed down vertically. Half dead, half crippled, dying. There was only a little bit of health left on the top of his head. Every single one of them was twitching and trembling, and they couldn't even make a sound as if they were in pain. This move stunned everyone present. What was that sound just now? Too strong. This sword move is amazing. I have to say, this kid is indeed strong. Beating all the Gui's family disciples to the ground with one sword strike. Isn't this too overpowered? No matter what plane it was in, everyone respected Powerhouse. Even though Long Fei had killed so many people, they were all subdued by this furious dragon sword move of Long Fei's. The corner of Wu Fengtian's mouth revealed a pleased smile, ha ha ha. With just one move, he crippled the Gui's family disciple, causing Gui Taibao to directly kneel on the ground and not be able to stand up. From the looks of it, his knees must have been shattered. This way, his son would have no opponents. As long as Long Fei died in the hands of his son would also receive the recognition of the ancient antiquity Elder Yang, and would be able to enter the ancient antiquity as well. However, what he did not expect was that Elder Yang, who was seated in the VIP seats, suddenly stood up, and his chi shook, directly suppressing the entire audience's voices. He looked at Long Fei and asked, "Little brother, are you interested in entering my ancient antiquity?" He threw out the olive branch directly. The entire venue shook. Wu Fengtian's eyes turned sinister, and her heart started to become nervous. Looking at Elder Yang, she wanted to say something, but he realized that Elder Yang's eyes were fixated on Long Fei, with no intention to look at him at all. Cluck, cluck. Wu Fengtian gritted his teeth as he became even more annoyed. He is an elder of the ancient antiquity. When did the clan elders of the ancient antiquity come here? And directly allowed him to join the ancient antiquity? Can't you tell? His voice even carried a bit of begging, as if he was begging this brat to turn out to be an ancient antiquity. How is that possible? But the ancient antiquity. Many people thought that they had heard wrongly. It was because of the giants of the ancient antiquity, the hegemons of the ancient antiquity with a circumference of billions of kilometers, and the rumors said that the ancient antiquity had the Powerhouse as his backer. To think that the ancient antiquity was every warrior's dream. Is a place that comes into contact with the real Powerhouse world. 3 years. 3 whole years before there was even a single spot in the Neon City. Moreover, he could fight with all his might among the countless young disciples, but the elders of the ancient antiquity immediately invited him. What kind of existence was that? It was too shocking. It was so shocked that the clan leaders and disciples and elders who wanted to kill Long Fei were trembling in their hearts. Because, if Long Fei nodded and agreed, then he was a disciple of the ancient antiquity. Making a move on him was tantamount to going against ancient antiquity. Who would dare? He didn't even dare to move. The hearts of the clan leaders began to grow cold. It was also at this time. A system notification rang out. Ding. System notification. Trigger mission. Enter ancient antiquity. Completing the quest will be rewarded with a piece of phoenix feather. Quest failure level 1. Huh. Long Fei was startled. Holy shit, there's actually a mission. He looked at the elder of the ancient antiquity, and at this time, Wu Fengtian said with a heavy voice, "Reject him, or else I'll kill that little girl immediately." The system had given him a mission, and it was an extremely simple one at that. The system had given him a mission, and it was an extremely simple one at that. As long as he agreed to go to ancient antiquity, he would be able to complete the mission and receive the phoenix feather as a reward. However, Wu Fengtian's sound transmission made Long Fei's heart tighten. The mission was secondary, and whether or not he went to ancient antiquity was secondary as well. The phoenix was the most important. If something were to happen to Phoenix, Long Fei could not afford the consequences. And then, Long Fei looked at the elder of the ancient antiquity, and said indifferently, "Ancient antiquity? Not interested. At this moment." However, in his heart, Long Fei said, "I'll just drop 1 level, I can't just take Phoenix's life as a joke. Long Fei did not know if the images in the dream were the memories from his past, but he knew in his heart that the Phoenix was extremely important to him. As soon as he finished, Elder Yang's face was full of disappointment as he said, "Ancient antiquity can give you a bigger stage, and can bring you a lot of gangs. Do you want to reconsider? Reject the ancient antiquities invitation?" The people around the grandstands were all stunned. Someone mocked, "Is this person an idiot? Holy *t. Is this person crazy? Ancient antiquity, that was an invitation from ancient antiquity, you rejected it just like that. Is he retarded? This is something that countless martial artists would never dare to think about in their lives. This person must be a fool." Many patriarchs of the families let out a long sigh of relief in their hearts. If Long Fei agreed to it, then they wouldn't dare to even touch a single strand of Long Fei's hair. If Long Fei rejected, then there was nothing to worry about. In response to the invitation from the elders of the ancient antiquity, their hearts once again tensed. Wu Fengtian's heart hung in the air, afraid that Long Fei would nod his head and agree. However, Long Fei did not consider this, and answered very straightforwardly, "Not interested." His heart felt like it was cutting through meat. However, he said that he was not interested and rejected ancient antiquities' invitation, but the system did not indicate that the quest had failed. This was very strange. In other words, if Long Fei did not give the system instructions, the mission would not be affected at all. No matter what he said, it would not affect the mission. Not bad. Let's not talk about the rewards, otherwise it would be 2F** king stupid to drop. Long Fei heaved a sigh of relief. After all, he was an elder of the ancient antiquity. If he were to be rejected just like that, at least he would feel a little unhappy. It was just that. He did not show it and smiled bitterly. What a pity. Wu Fengtian was secretly pleased with himself, and after confirming that the card in his hand was a trump card, he immediately turned to Elder Yang and said, "This brat does not know how to appreciate favors." Elder Yang said, "Geniuses have the right to be arrogant." Although the sound was not loud, many people heard it. These words gave Long Fei a huge amount of praise. In his heart, Long Fei was a genius. This evaluation was much higher than Wu Yilong's and Gui Taibao's. He clenched his fists under his sleeves and said with an apologetic smile, "This is not being arrogant, but arrogant and conceited. Furthermore, he is a homicidal maniac, and this kind of person simply doesn't have the qualifications to enter the ancient antiquity." Elder Yang only smiled. Killing demon. Which powerhouse didn't step on a corpse to get the upper hand? He did not defend Long Fei, because since Long Fei had rejected him, he did not have any obligation to help Long Fei. Long Fei's raging dragon attack was indeed sharp. To those in The Apprentice, this move could be considered stunning. This was also why he had his eyes on Long Fei. He wanted to save Long Fei. As long as Long Fei agreed with a nod of his head, the people of Neon City would not dare to touch him again. But Long Fei rejected it. That's why he said to himself, "What a pity." Anger raged within Wu Fengtian's heart, and he said with a heavy voice, "Didn't I ask you to kill all of the Gui's family's disciples? Now kill them all. Immediately." Immediately. Long Fei's gaze tightened as he cursed in his heart, "Fuck, don't let me find your location, or else I'll kill you first." And then, Long Fei walked to the front of the kneeling Gui Taibao. Gui Taibao trembled, his face incomparably pale white, as if his throat was stuck. He continuously shook his head, and said with a hoarse voice, "Don, don't kill me, don't." Gui Tianyi's pupils tightened, he did not dare linger, and with a move of his body, he jumped out of the stand, quickly landing on the fighting stage in the ruins. He hugged his fists and said, "Little brother, I, Gui Tianyi, admit defeat. I will immediately withdraw from this competition. Please spare this child." Gui Taibao was his only son, and he could not just watch his son die here. "Father, save me, save me." Gui Taibao's voice trembled, he couldn't even stand up, and his hands hugged onto Gui Tianyi's thighs. Gui Tianyi once again said, "As long as you can let this child go, I will give up on any condition that I have to agree to." Long Fei said faintly, "And if I say no?" Gui Tiany's gaze tightened, and said, "If you really aren't letting this child go, then my Gui's family will give it our all to fight you." His eyes were determined. As Gui Tiany spoke, he lowered his voice and said, "I know who captured Lin Shuang'er." Long Fei's eyes widened, and he immediately asked, "Who is it?" Gui Tiany said, "I can tell you, but you must let him go." Long Fei's eyes turned sinister, the anger in his heart surging. His body suddenly moved, and landed in front of Gui Tiany with a step. He grabbed's collar and lifted him up in the air, and said with a heavy voice, "Do you have the qualifications to negotiate with me?" Buzz. As he spoke, the aura on Long Fei's body fiercely surged, and the powerful might of a dragon directly crushed Gui Tiany's mind. Gui Tiany instantly broke out in cold sweat, his heart no longer throbbing from the pressure. He had never seen such a terrifying gaze in his life before. Too terrifying. It was like being watched by a death god. He could die at any moment. Gui Tiany's lips trembled, and said, Yes, it's the City Lord, Wu Fengtian." "City Lord Wu Fengtian?" Long Fei's gaze tensed up. He casually threw Gui Tiany to the side and turned to look at Wu Fengtian. Wu Fengtian sat there high up, and the corner of his mouth curled into a cold smile. He didn't panic in the slightest. Because, even if Long Fei found out his identity, what could he do? With the trump card in his hand, what need did he have to fear? Wu Fengtian looked at the expression in Long Fei's eyes and laughed lightly. He sent a sound transmission. "He is right, those two women are indeed in my hands. If you want them to live, then obediently do as I say." Long Fei's pupils contracted rapidly. His killing intent intensified. Wu Fengtian laughed. "Brat, either you behave yourself or I will make it so that you will never see them again. Kill Gui Tiany." A loud sound was heard. Long Fei suddenly turned and rushed out. Wu Fengtian started laughing, looked at Gui Tiany and said, "Junior brother, oh junior brother, you can't beat me, ha ha ha." As soon as he finished laughing, his expression suddenly twisted. Because Long Fei had lifted his son, Wu Yilong, into the air. C3519. C3519 1 second, remember, pen, interesting pavilion www.bbeak.com, read for free. Wu Yilong had been injured by Long Fei's sword chi from the beginning, and had not recovered yet. Under the power of the ancient dragon body, he was like a little chick that had been lifted up. He could only make some weak struggles. It was also at this time. Wu Fengtian suddenly stood up. "Little bastard, what are you trying to do?" This time, he was completely flustered. Seeing that his own son's life was in the hands of another, Wu Fengtian started to become nervous. However, Long Fei sneered sinisterly, and said, "I hate people who threaten me the most." As soon as he finished speaking, crack, he directly crushed Wu Yilong's neck in front of Wu Fengtian, causing blood to gush out. Wu Yilong struggled for a bit, then lost all signs of life. Ding. Congratulations to the player Long Fei for killing Wu Yilong. Do you wish to absorb his realm? No. Long Fei rejected him, and looked at Wu Fengtian coldly. The entire fighting arena was silent. This was the son of the mayor. Was it Wu Fengtian's heart and soul? His neck exploded just like that. Killed just like that. This, many people's minds could not react in time. They did not know who gave Long Fei the courage to do this, or who gave him the guts to do so. This was simply courting death. Ah! Wu Fengtian shouted in fury, "One dragon, rumble." The flaming chi exploded and directly sent the surrounding disciples flying. With one step forward, the entire stand sank down. A 10-centimeter deep footprint appeared under his feet. His figure flashed and directly flew toward the fighting stage. Anger. He was infuriated. Lin Yuantu's mind tensed up. Crap. Wu Fengtian has gone crazy. At the same time, Gui Tiany sneered, and secretly said, "Senior brother, who can fight who?" Ha ha ha. Gui Taibao also laughed excitedly. "You think you can snatch the qualifications from me, a defeated opponent like you? Do you think that you are worthy?" Not waiting for him to finish, Long Fei's eyes turned sinister, and he shouted out, Are you happy? Gui Taibao looked up, his eyes staring blankly at the ground, not daring to move. Boom. The aura from Long Fei's body moved, and directly blew Gui Taibao's head off. Last time you deserved to die. I let you live for a few more days, yet you still dare to be cocky in front of me. Ah! Gui Tianyi also shouted out loudly, Imperial Guard. He was enraged. Staring at Long Fei, he roared hysterically, I'll kill you. Boom. With a heavy sound, the power of the big swordsman burst forth. He waved his sword, boom, boom. Hundreds of gigantic sword images superimposed onto it. It attacked Long Fei. Wu Yilong was the only son of the city lord Wu Fengtian. Gui Taibao was the only son of the Gui's family's patriarch, and both of them had the skills and talent of the Neon City. Furthermore, Gui Taibao was an outer disciple of the ancient antiquity. But they were all crushed by Long Fei. Whether it was Gui Tianyi or Wu Fengtian, both of them were enraged at this moment. What they wanted to do was to tear Long Fei into pieces. He couldn't hold it in even a second. However, this was exactly what Long Fei wanted. Yesterday, he used up too much energy. Under the ancient dragon body's effects, Long Fei's body was unable to endure it any longer, so he had to quickly resolve this issue. It was precisely to anger Wu Fengtian, so that he would not have time to deal with Lin Shuang'er and Phoenix. As long as he died, Phoenix would not be in danger for a while. Seeing the two experts charge towards him, Long Fei's body gently sank as he gently breathed out, phew. Elder Yang also stared intently at Long Fei. Die. Little bastard, return my son's life. With both swords in hand, Wu Fengtian unleashed advanced sword moves. The sword images were like rain, striking towards Long Fei's berserk storm, locking him in place as he retreated. On the other side, Gui Tianyi also attacked with full strength. The strongest sword technique resonated with Long Fei. Absorb. Long Fei inhaled slightly as the long sword in his hand moved. Boom. The sword energy combusted and the illusion of a dragon appeared in his hands. Ascending dragon. The draconic shadow moved, directly piercing through the heavens. Facing the two strongest warriors in Neon City, Long Fei stabbed his sword into the ground. Roar. With a roar, the giant dragon flipped over and smashed its head towards the ground. Rumble. 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 Explosions thundered throughout the arena as the entire arena shook and cracked. Gui Tianyi's sword broke, the sword shadow was crushed. Wu Fengtian's several thousand sword rain were crushed into fine powder, and her entire body was pushed back non-stop. Finally, she stopped, her face was pale white, and she spat out a mouthful of blood. Fart. Gui Tianyi did the same, fresh blood gushing out. His face was ashen. The gashes on their heads had already decreased by a large amount. At the same time, this move had sobered them up quite a bit. They never thought that Long Fei was actually this strong. Fighting both of them at the same time actually gave him the upper hand. The crowd went into an uproar. This is impossible. Is he really an apprentice realm warrior or not? Is the apprentice realm really so powerful? Oh my god. But Gui Tianyi and Wu Fengtian, the two strongest people in the Neon City, are actually, unexpectedly, injured. If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, no one would have believed it. The apprentice realm was actually this strong. Elder Yang's gaze tensed up as he stared at Long Fei. He was equally shocked in his heart. Genius, genius, he is simply a super genius. Ha ha ha. No matter what, I will bring him into ancient antiquity. He was incomparably excited. However, he was worried too. Because when Long Fei released the power of the ancient dragon body, he immediately sensed it draining from Long Fei's body at a very fast rate. He wouldn't be able to hold on much longer. Once the power of the ancient dragon body disappeared, Long Fei would definitely not be a match for any of them. Yang Dao looked at Long Fei, he turned his right hand, and a silver needle appeared on his 2 fingers. At this moment, Gui Tianyi took the lead and said loudly, Elder Yang, my son is an outer disciple of the ancient antiquity. You should take charge of this matter by killing the disciple of the ancient antiquity. Yang Dao's gaze did not waver as he said, as long as you have not entered the ancient antiquity, then you can't be considered as a disciple of the ancient antiquity, so your son is not a disciple of the ancient antiquity. Furthermore, this is a competition between Neon City S, and I, an outsider, can't even manage it. Gui Tianyi's gaze tensed up. Wu Fengtian immediately said, "Little bastard, kneel down right now, if not, I will kill them immediately." Long Fei's mouth turned sinister. He sneered, "Kill them? Do you think I'll give you a chance?" He raised his eyes and pulled out his sword from the ground. Ascending dragon. Roar! A draconic roar rang out from underground. Gui Tianyi and Wu Fengtian looked at each other, then slowly looked underneath their feet as their bodies began to tremble. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.